With what night? Never got when I did it. What's up? Oh, come on! Dude, are you serious? I need to take you to the hospital. Oh my God!
This is 50-year-old Joseph Traeger, arrested for the murder of his wife, Janeene Catanzaaro, who had been missing for 3 days. What started as a missing person case quickly turned darker as he managed to manipulate even her own family into believing his lies.
The man is very smart, very clever.
Okay.
They call him a backstreet lawyer.
Okay.
That's how he's a manipulator.
What I said today, it's off the record. It's off the record. I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
He even tried to mislead the police, unaware that they had been secretly recording him, revealing chilling details that have remained hidden until now. It all began on December 1st, 2018, when police received this call from Joseph Edward Traeger to check on his wife in their home at Sunrise, Florida.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
I need to file a missing persons report.
What place is this person on the from?
Sunrise, Florida.
What's her name?
Janeene Catanzaaro.
Okay, and when was she last seen?
Oh, I knew it was Thursday morning. I left for work at 7 a.m. She left sometime between 7:30 and 8, and I have not seen her since.
Joseph had not seen his 50-year-old wife, Janeene Ann Catanzaaro, for 3 days. Concern grew, but it wasn't until the 4th day that Joseph finally contacted the police. This delay prompted authorities to begin an investigation into Janeene's sudden and unexplained disappearance. Before this, both Joseph and her mother, Joanne Roma, failed to reach her.
Where have you been for 2 days? Are you okay? Give us the call and let us know you're alive. Babe, you in the house? Pick up. Hello? Babe, if you're in the house, please pick up.
What started as unresponsive calls quickly spiraled into a full-blown missing persons investigation, later turning into a gruesome, cold-blooded murder.
Message from the Sunrise Police Department. We are searching for a missing person in need of medical attention in your area. The person's name is Janeene Catanzaaro.
As the police reached Janene's home, they noticed something unusual. Her vehicle was still outside her home, but her cell phone was turned off and nowhere to be found. To dig deeper, they began looking at her bank records. They discovered Joseph had been out gambling and spending her money. Combined with the 3-day delay in reporting Janeene missing, along with his suspicious spending, quickly made Joseph a person of interest. And on December 7th, 2018, he agreed to an interview that would only deepen their concerns.
Your mother-in-law, with Joanne, she actually filed this information report regarding her daughter. And that was done on Sunday.
That would have been the second report filed.
Okay.
Correct.
You contacted the police first?
6 a.m. on Sunday morning.
6 a.m. on Sunday morning. Yeah. Okay. You last saw your wife when?
Thursday morning, 7 a.m.
What was she doing?
Getting ready to leave.
For where?
Have no idea.
Where does she usually go at that hour?
Well, okay. Anywhere from a doctor's appointment to the gym. I mean, it could have been. The fact that she was up that early was not out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Her behavior was out of the ordinary that morning. Just as, like I said, she was very frantic, like, I gotta get ready. But she did not elaborate any more than what I told you already.
Okay. So when you left the residence to go to work, and where do you work?
I keep forgetting the address, but the name of it, I got it right here. Hold on. It's called Trillium. And it's 3407 Northwest 9th Avenue, Suite 200, which is power line. So 3407 power line.
And what do you do there?
Telephone sales.
And how long have you been there?
That, as a matter of fact, Thursday was my first day.
This Thursday morning when you left.
Yes.
Thursday that you left and that was the last time you saw her was your first day.
Yes.
So
That was my first day of officially working for the company.
Okay.
When asked about the last time he saw her, Joseph gave what seemed like a genuine response.
So you leave at 7 a.m.
Yes.
And she's in the house getting ready.
Yes.
How is she dressed, or what is she putting on?
She was still in her pajamas at the time.
Okay. So when you left, she was in her pajamas.
Yes. So I do not know what she wore to leave the house.
And what kind of conversation did you guys have?
Just typical, like, have a good day, good luck with your new job, but I gotta go, I gotta get ready. I mean, it wasn't much of a conversation. I mean,
What about the night before?
everything was fine. As a matter of fact, the night before, Wednesday, is when she asked me to move the car, said, do not leave the car in the driveway, one was possessed. So I moved the car to the spot that we had
Okay,
agreed
so
on.
let's talk about that.
Joseph seemed genuinely concerned for his missing wife and claimed after filing the report, 2 officers arrived and searched the house but didn't find anything. As the interrogation went further, he unraveled crucial details about their relationship.
Let's talk about before we get into when you returned home on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into your relationship with her. You're recently back in that residence. Is that
Very recently.
when did you move out and when did you move back in?
Yeah, I never technically moved out.
Okay.
But I was not staying at the house. Now, am I under any way going to incriminate myself by telling you guys some illegal stuff here?
I'm only concerned about finding your wife.
Okay. I have a drug problem. Okay.
She has this conversation with you, basically telling you need to clean up or you're not staying with me. Is that correct?
Well, that's close. That's very.
Okay, make it. I don't want to be close. I want to be 100% accurate. What happened?
If you're not going to pay, you're not going to stay.
Okay.
No money, no stay. Basically, cash is king. You know, like that was basically her exact words to me was, if you could find money for heroin, you could find money to pay me.
Okay. So you said you quasi moved out. You were living in your car. Were you back and forth some nights? Or?
Oh, of course. I would come back to change clothes. I would come back to take showers. I would come back to. I mean, she was still doing my laundry and everything.
Okay.
And every time I showed up, it was like, "Do you got money?" And if I had money, I could stay. If I didn't have money, I couldn't stay. That kind of thing. Now, as bad as I know this sounds and looks, there was never any true fighting, arguing. The last thing I ever wanted to do was ever disappoint or hurt her emotionally, physically, in any way, shape, or form. Okay.
When Joseph was asked about Janene's behavior, he claimed something that could give them a possible reason for her disappearance.
She has a drinking problem?
Extreme.
Talk about that.
Oh, she has 2 glasses of wine. She can't stand up. It seems like it, but it's not. I mean, if you ever been around an alcoholic? She is somebody who believes that she is not an alcoholic. She believes she can handle the alcohol. She cannot. Second she starts drinking, she becomes, I mean, there's no better description of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde than you will ever see.
Okay.
When she's drinking, she talks and says the meanest, most hurtful things. And, I mean, she will sit there and say, "You're nothing but a junkie. You ruined my life for 10 years, and I can't believe this is the biggest mistake I ever made." Blah 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 blah. Then, of course, the next day it's all, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over. I don't know why." But it was a constant.
So how often is she drunk?
She drinks a lot. I mean, she drinks coffee. It's not that she drinks a lot because she can't handle it.
When is she usually?
When?
What time is it?
Oh, at night when she comes home. If she drinks, she's going to start at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Does she work?
No.
Okay.
He even claimed that because of her drinking, she had gotten herself into another trouble, and he had stepped in to help her, just like any husband would.
You leave, she's in her pajamas.
Mm-hmm. Doing her hair at the door like she always does. I mean, everything is totally normal, other than the fact that she seems to be rushed. Well, it didn't seem to be. She was rushing to get ready.
And Wednesday night. Talk about Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, everything was fine. She was out with a friend. I don't know who the friend was. She actually told me she wasn't even going to be home. She was going to spend the night over there, but she actually came home in the middle of the night.
What time did she come home?
I don't know. That's when she woke me up and said, "Why is the car in the driveway?" I moved.
Okay. You're saying approximately 2 a.m.?
I could have been earlier, could have been later, I don't know. I mean, I walked, all right. Hopefully there's a camera that'll identify what time it was. I was wearing, I'll tell you exactly, because Wednesday night was actually a cold night. I had put on my sweatsuit, black pants, white stripe, same top, black, white stripe. I drove the car directly to the spot and I walked back.
Okay.
So.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night, at her request. She asked, why is the car in the driveway, so.
And you weren't expecting her home that night?
Earlier in the day, she had told me she was drinking. Now, she came home, that was fine, you know what I mean? So.
When investigators asked Joseph why he had not made contact in 4 days, his response wasn't just evasive, but was downright baffling.
Thursday night, when your wife didn't come home, you told me that's not normal.
It is not.
I have to ask you why you didn't call the police at that point.
Literally, I'm not the top. I mean, I just, does it sound stupid? Probably, but I expected that she'd be home. I really did. I expected everything would be fine. I knew she wasn't driving, so I figured she's with a friend, she's okay, everything's all right. Now,
Friday.
Understand, wait. Oh, because I really want to answer your question. Now, all of this progression throughout the day and his reaction, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I wouldn't, yeah. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, I wouldn't want to deal with this either. Like, I kind of understood why she was avoiding everybody. Like I told you at the house, she's wound up so tight and so nervous because of him. I know that it's my fault that she's gone because she can't deal with him. She can't deal with giving Joey a chance. I already know this is what's going through her mind. There's no doubt in my mind.
When you say it's your fault.
Upon being asked why Janeene might have disappeared, Joseph pointed fingers at her family and claimed their ongoing dislike for him was the reason she ignored calls and cutting off contact.
Well, my fault because I'm there. She can't. She's afraid to have that confrontation with her family. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for as long as it's been going on, whether it's from August 21st of 2017 or 2 weeks ago, whenever it is, she's been telling everybody that Joey's on heroin, he up his life, it's 10 years, if nothing was going downhill, blah, 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 blah. So now she's confronted with, all right, I'm giving him another chance. Now I gotta go back and tell everybody that I just told all of this garbage to that I let him back in the house. Okay. In my opinion, at this point, she's hiding out because of it.
They then turned to her closest friend, John. He was the last known person to have seen Janeene just 1 week before she vanished without a trace. That detail alone catapulted him to the center of the investigation. Whatever he saw, whatever he knew, could be the key to unraveling the mystery behind Janeene's disappearance.
So you go to her house on Monday the 26th, and what do you guys talk about?
We talked about Joe, and then she played messages, which were insane. And I've heard several different messages over the last couple months, well, actually over the last month, because that's when she's been out of the house. And they were like, I'm dying of cancer, I got 2 months to live, crazy stuff. And
messages from who?
From Joe, trainer.
And you're describing their relationship as what?
Horrible. She hated him. She wanted him.
Why did she stay with him?
She felt, he can talk. You should have heard these messages. Crying. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I mean, he's a pro at it.
While Joseph had so far played the role of a concerned husband, John's portrayal of him marked a turning point against him.
But do you think she allowed him back in the house?
I don't think so. I'm 99.9% positive. She didn't want him to have a key. She didn't want him in his life. She wanted him gone.
To persuade the law, Joseph demonstrated a seemingly believable picture, implying an imperfect couple. However, given the idea that he and Janeene had an issue, those arguments never escalated into something more alarming. Although Janeene's friend conveyed his own concern, he was not the only one, but one of the many people who shared the same concern regarding their relationship. Amongst them was Janene's mom, Joanne Roma, who also had her own fear of losing her daughter to danger.
Okay, so how often on a normal basis would you talk to your daughter?
Once or twice a day.
Did she say anything or act in any manner?
She was mad at me because her husband took a lot of money. He rang up her credit cards for $50,000. He was mad at me because I left a message. Because of where I work, I told her, look, you're in trouble here. He's got a drug problem. You're $50,000 in debt. You have to have a plan. I got pro bono lawyers that I know, and I called them up. What can I do to help my daughter? And I said, Janeene, not only will they do a bankruptcy for you, but they'll do a divorce.
Right.
He must have heard that.
Okay.
Because when I spoke with her, she said, you better watch what you say on the phone.
Her mother clearly sensed a threat to her daughter's life and was willing to cooperate with the police. But the investigators didn't expect that this was just the beginning of a sinister revelation. Soon, her mother would drop the biggest bombshell about Joseph, exposing his dangerous demeanor.
How would you describe their marriage?
Okay. They went to kindergarten together. Okay. Years later, they started talking, whatever. He was incarcerated, okay, for rape for his wife.
Okay.
Which he claimed he didn't do.
Okay.
Okay. She believed him. However, she believed him. Me, my ex-husband, my brother, we all talked to him. What are you, nuts? I said, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, she married him, and then it was one thing after the other to get him a driver's license. Then he went and took $6,000 out of her bank book.
Okay.
How he did that, we don't know. The man is very smart, very clever.
Okay.
They call him a backstreet lawyer.
Okay.
That's how he's a manipulator. You know what I mean? Something's fishy.
Okay.
Something's fishy.
Okay, we're gonna get to the bottom of it.
This was the biggest twist so far, knowing that the man they were questioning might not only be responsible for Janene's disappearance, but someone with a known history of violence involving an assault conviction. Despite this, Joseph had his own narratives to weave, going as far as blaming Janene's family. That could outsmart the truth and might bring fate in his favor.
I know that it's my fault that she's gone. I already know this is what's going through her mind. There's no doubt in my mind.
When you say it's your fault, what do you
Well,
mean?
my fault, because I'm there, she can't. He's afraid to have that confrontation with her family. He took his life, these 10 years have been nothing but going downhill. I've been the worst husband on the planet. She's told everybody in the world that I'm the worst husband on the planet, but she still loves me.
Regardless of Joseph's version of events, detectives shifted their focus to the most reliable source, contacting his ex-wife, a victim in his previous conviction for assault and attempted murder, to understand his past behavior that could shatter his defense.
Okay. Can you tell me your relationship with Joseph Drake?
I'm also a victim in a prior case that he was convicted for.
Okay. And how is the relationship?
It was from the get-go. It was off and on. It was not good. It was a volatile relationship. I realized that about 7 years after. There was a lot of gambling. There was a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of, social threats. I didn't feel safe. My children weren't safe. There were incidences that happened between us that ended up in domestic violence charges against him. So at that time, I couldn't take anymore. And it was shortly after I had told him that he attacked me. When he made threats to me and he tried to take my life, he told me that you ruined my life. You're not leaving here alive. I'm going to kill you. Then I'm going to find your body. I'm going to wrap you up in trash bags and I'm going to dump you and they'll never find you.
This terrified phone call explained everything the detectives needed to confirm about Joseph's potential for committing a crime. His first wife escaped the horror, but Janeene was not as fortunate. and became his prey. Now, the police had the most crucial evidence to confront him, not knowing that Joseph was already one step ahead of them.
There's no story for you to tell. There's no story for me to tell. And I'm telling you, I had nothing to do with her disappearance.
Yeah, but
I had nothing to do.
but now you're lying to me, so I'm just gonna stop you, because I'm not gonna let you sit here and lie to me. It makes no sense to do that.
All right.
I said,
Well,
you know,
you're calling me a liar.
oh yeah, you're definitely lying.
No.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. This is very well, I'm past that bridge.
Okay.
He still refused to answer questions about his wife, Janeene, so they shifted the question to his ex-wife.
Tell me what happened with your
My ex-wife.
Yeah, tell me what happened.
Since this has absolutely nothing to do with anything, I'll tell you the story. We were separated. I'm trying to get my family back here. Anyway, after like the third cigarette, we ended up in the bedroom, and we ended up having. Anyway, not 30 seconds after we ended up having, she says to me, "Well, let's go shopping." And I overreact. Well, I was like, "Wait, let's go shop. What do you think? I'm gonna be a cash machine for you? Or you just gonna me when you want something? I overreact. I ain't going nowhere." So I stopped her from leaving. I grabbed her, I threw her on the ground, I threatened her with a baseball bat. I did what I did, but I never tried to kill her. But that's what I was convicted of.
They convicted you of what?
Criminal penetration, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and false imprisonment. Well, they said that I tried to choke her.
With what?
A drawstring from a pair of sweats, which I did not. I grabbed her by the back, threw her on the ground. I never tried to kill her.
What were her injuries?
A minimally displaced fracture of the fifth metatarsal on her left foot, which turned out to be a fracture of the pinky toe. We had the medical report, yet she sat there and told the jury that I hit her with a baseball bat and shattered her foot in 5 places, which is bullshit.
Even after pressing him about his conviction, he remained elusive, expertly deceiving the police with fabricated stories. To break through his defenses, they needed solid evidence, which led them to do the polygraph test.
Question, did you hurt Janeene?
No.
Okay. Did you hurt Janeene on or after Tuesday, November 27th, 2018?
No.
Okay. Did you cause Janene's disappearance?
No.
In 2018, have you ever hurt Janeene in any way?
Excuse me, what was it?
Prior to 2018, have you ever hurt Janeene in any way?
Well, the answer is going to be yes.
Okay, because you told me earlier when I asked you never hurt Janeene.
No, I never hurt her physically.
Okay, so have you ever, prior to 2018, have you ever physically hurt Janeene in any way? Prior to 2018, have you ever wished anyone dead?
No.
What made this polygraph test interesting was the situation where Joseph said something he shouldn't have. When asked if he had ever hurt Janeene, he didn't deny it. Instead, with unsettling confidence, he answered that he never hurt her physically. But he didn't stop there. Joseph took another step and tried to mislead the officer with new claims. He mentioned that on the day Janeene disappeared, her father had planned to meet her to buy a car. But when her father arrived at her home and found Janeene nowhere, he wrote a distressing note before leaving the house, and this note was later found by Joseph.
I come walking in and there's this crazy note. It was something that you don't write to your child. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
You disrespectful bitch. I don't ever want to have anything to do with you again. This type of stuff. You made the biggest mistake of your life. All right, whatever. So he tells me that I need to tell her that he wants nothing to do with her. That he's out of her life and she fucked up, basically.
Detectives then asked Joseph what he had done next after discovering the note and realizing Janeene was gone or missing.
I sat up Thursday waiting for her. I sat up all night, waiting. She never came home. No. At this moment in time, it's all speculation, obviously. I'm thinking she's pissed at him for whatever reason that she didn't show up for the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why she would not have come home. I don't know why she would not have met him for the car. I mean, none of this makes any sense to me. Okay? So anyway, like I said, I sit up all night long. All right, just sat there watching TV in the living room, just waiting. She never comes home. Okay.
Joseph thought her father had been angry with her, which might have caused Janeene to disappear. Later, when detectives asked why he hadn't called 911 right away, Joseph added a different explanation and said he called Janeene's father to report she hadn't returned home. However, her father told him about her whereabouts.
I called him, or he calls me, we talk, he and I talk, and I tell him she never came home. I didn't see her. Now, he gives me the impression that he spoke to her uncle, the uncle spoke to him, the mother. So, all right, Vinny is the father. So he gives me the impression that Janene's fine.
Okay.
Me, on the other hand, I'm hearing it from her father that she's okay, everything's fine. So I'm like, all right, no big deal. There's no reason to panic.
With the new information, police re-examined his statements, but found no notes from her father or information verifying his truthfulness. This made Joseph crash into his own web of lies. He was again brought back to the interrogation room.
You don't go to the gym for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Bank account side closed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it what it is, Joe.
What is it?
She's probably dead at this point.
I don't think so, and I sure as hell hope not.
Joe, but here's the problem.
What?
You are, as the husband,
The number one suspect.
the number one suspect.
Of course.
The way things are going for you, it's not looking the way you want it to look. And we can fix that. Because you haven't been honest with us.
Right.
You haven't. The polygraph showed.
Well, what exactly did the polygraph?
You failed.
I failed on what questions?
You failed on the relevant questions.
Which were?
Did you hurt Janeene?
No.
Did you cause her disappearance?
No.
Those are the questions. You failed on those. There's no question about it. It's a fact. See, this is where we go back to the investigation. We go back to the facts, right? The facts are you failed on those questions.
Okay.
Now that's a fact you have to get past. I know if you're going to this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know,
Of course it's true.
True.
What do you think? Where is she?
Well, that's what we need to do.
I have no idea.
No, you do.
I don't.
Hang on, you do.
During his interview, the detectives took into account that he was a heroin addict, which made him lethargic and unresponsive at times. As a result, the officers took a flexible approach, confronting him with all the evidence they had gathered so far to prevent him from shutting down.
You had told me earlier when we were talking on the polygraph thing that you had, we talked about Janeene and previous incidents with Janeene. Did you ever hurt Janeene in any way?
No.
Okay.
Not physically.
Not physically.
Right.
All right, yeah. We were out at the house. When we were out at the house, sometime in beginning of November, right? For Janeene, she had some medical issue going on.
I don't know.
Contusion on the head, maybe.
That wasn't because of me.
Well, what happened there?
I wasn't there. She got drunk. She fell down and cracked her head open in the front of the house.
Is that the story she told the police?
I have no idea what she told the police.
Were you home?
No.
You weren't home when the cops got there?
No.
Okay.
Not for that incident.
All right, so it would be surprising to you that she told us that you did that?
Oh, no, that's absolutely ridiculous. And that is 100% bullshit.
Total bullshit. Total bullshit. She made it up.
Made it up.
Emotionally hurt?
Well, unfortunately, because of my behavior, yeah. I mean, she's, accused me of emotionally draining her and,
If nothing else, at least he admitted to emotionally draining Janeene, which also contributed to his violence. Additionally, the officers knew that he was in a hot water balloon, ready to burst any time under pressure, so they continued to push him with their line of questioning to obtain the truth.
That she does not leave the house after 8 o'clock on the Wednesday morning. She doesn't. We know. See, again, we're back to the $1 million question, Joe. We're back to the $1 million question.
She didn't leave the house.
Oh, not on her own. She didn't walk out.
Okay.
She didn't walk out, Joe.
I didn't take her.
Okay. Well, she went somewhere, and you're the last person there. Everything stops when you leave. Everything stops. It is absolutely sustainable proof. Proof evident that she does not leave the house after you arrive at 8 o'clock that morning. She doesn't leave.
Unfortunately, every attempt to get the confession failed, and the police feared he might escape from his evil deeds. Realizing the importance of breaking his shield of confidence, officers alternated their approach to a more aggressive one by inviting another detective into the room.
We can still affect how we move forward.
No.
Yes, we can.
How?
Listen, you firmly believe, you said this to me, I'm not walking out of here tonight. But if that was the case, why are we still sitting here? Why am I still sitting here with you talking to you? Why am I wasting my time if I don't need to? Why am I wasting my time? This is done. I don't need to sit here. I gotta be back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. My shift starts at 8. Why am I still sitting here talking to you if this was over? That makes no sense to me. Write it up, done, walk away. You know why? Because I go home.
Joe, tell us what happened. I don't understand how you can sit here, look at me and Josh, and say that. Tell us what happened.
At this point, just tell us.
What happened? There's absolutely something to tell, and you want to tell it. 100% something to tell, and you want to tell it, and you'll feel better when you tell it. So let's get there. Let's do it together.
Their new tactic worked this time, and later, Joseph was ready to talk off camera. In the next few seconds, detectives are about to hear Joseph's first ever confession that would leave them stunned. The way he twists his statement is nothing short of genius and is as disturbing as it is calculated.
He went upstairs to take a shower, and when he came downstairs, he found Janeene on the ground with her head cracked open. He says that he thinks that she had a seizure, and then he panicked and decided that he's got to get rid of the body because the police would never believe him. And that's why he decided to get rid of the body. And he describes that he placed it in a couple of garbage bags. He moved the garbage bags into the garbage can while it was still in the garage. And then he immediately moved the can out to the curb so that it would be picked up.
With this new information, investigators doubted Joseph's credibility, considering his inconsistent behavior. All his confessions suggested that he had had the intention to cover up his crime. The officers knew finding Janeene's body would be further incriminating evidence against him, so they publicly announced Janeene's investigation and began searching for the body. Meanwhile, Joseph seized the opportunity, stepping into the media spotlight.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Absolutely not. Listen, I've had the police here 3 different times, crime scene investigators. They went through the house. There's nothing, nothing for me to be suspect of. You know what I'm saying?
Perhaps he aimed to evoke public sympathy.
I've known my wife since we're 9 years old, 10 years old. We've known each other for 40 years. We had financial problems, so all marriages go through problems. Nothing major.
You're desperate to get her back home.
Absolutely.
What would it mean to you to get her back home?
It would mean the world to me to get her back. It would mean everything.
This must just hurt you, just tear you
apart. It's killing me. I haven't slept in 3 weeks.
But his strategy was bound to fail, as the investigators would never let that happen. They extensively searched the area where Joseph had dumped the body, a nearby local landfill. Yet, their hopes were dashed when Janeene's body was not found. Desperately in need of an answer, they decided to press Joseph one more time, just to see through his emotional act.
Did you find her? Or has she been recovered? We're going to find her. I hope so.
What are we going to find, Joe? What are we going to find?
I found her. Listen to me. This is what's breaking my heart right now, okay?
Joe, it's breaking mine too. There's no way we can help the situation after she's found. And Joe, look at me.
I'm more worried when you find her. The narrative will show what happened.
What's it going to show, Joe?
You tell me I'm not a man.
I just told her.
My assumption is it was a seizure. Well, that's all I could think of that would cause her to have fallen down and that's it. But I did not body slam her. I did not choke slam her. I did not do anything.
No one's going to believe that part of this. No, that is not believable that you came down and found her in the kitchen in full blood.
Your time
is running out.
Mm-hmm. This is the opportunity.
I still can't tell you what you want to hear.
Yep.
What are you going to do with me at that point?
You're walking out the door tonight.
I'm going to take 24 hours to think about it. I got to come back tomorrow for my phone. Let me think about this. Let me think about what I want to say.
Let's go eat and you can think about it and then we'll come back. I'm hungry. Let's go eat some food.
Let's go eat.
This was the moment their efforts finally paid off, and Joseph finally agreed to meet the officers for dinner to reveal his deeds.
Mikey, talk.
Yet considering his unpredictable behavior, nobody could predict his next move. But this time, it was the detective's turn, and soon the officers began manipulating Joseph.
It's fine.
Officers were baffled to hear his confession, but what he was about to reveal was even more shocking.
I'm not gonna run. This time, I will be ready. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Well, 9 bodies. Might as well get it all together. You know, and it's
You guys about ready to go?
Yeah. Keep in mind. All right. What I think today, it's off the record. Off the record.
After his damning confession and collecting all the incriminating details, detectives hit Joseph with a bombshell he never saw coming.
I understand. I'm holding the door for you. Come on, John. Come on, let's go. Come on in. What's up? Sorry.
All right. Hey, Karen, what's up? Hey, we're going out. We're trying. Well, I'm going out.
Wait, come on.
What's up? Oh, come on. Dude, are you serious?
I need to take these off.
Oh, my God. Mike, that's so fucked up, dude.
Where's the car?
Do that for me.
Where's your car?
It's your
car.
Your car.
My car.
Carrie's
Let me get you where I want. Huh? Are you serious?
Joseph was brought in for questioning immediately after his arrest. At the station, he looked dumbfounded at the officers, questioning their credibility.
Mike, I'm straight up with you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to do me like this. You could have given me the week I was asking for.
I can't do that, Joe.
What?
I couldn't do that.
You could have. You didn't have to do me like you did.
I could not have.
All right, well, you know what? You see, like I said, I just...
Then came the moment investigators had been waiting for. They began pressing Joseph for the answers they desperately needed, the reason behind his dreadful act.
Like I stated earlier, starting on the night of the 27th, I had texted her saying that I needed to come to the house in the morning to get my Social Security card because I was going for a job interview, basically. There was nothing bad, nothing negative, nothing argumentative at that point. She had mentioned to me on a number of occasions previously, not on this day, but that, she was, thinking about divorce. I mean, I've said it to her a million times. I said, look, if you really want a divorce, I'm not going to fight you on the divorce. I mean, I love you. You're my friend. We've always been friends. I'm always going to be a part of your life.
You wanted to stay, right?
So I wanted to stay. I mean, living on the frickin' streets of nightmare. Anyway, I told her, let's stay. Let's talk about this. She's like, no, I got to get ready. And I was like, well, but I got nowhere to go. So, I didn't want to go. I was like, well, let me go take a nap. Well, where it all went down. And, she's like, look, if you're not going to leave, I'm calling the cops. And I'm like, why would you call the cops? There's no reason to call the cops.
Then came the more heartbreaking question. How did he kill her?
But anyway, she went for the phone. I grabbed the phone, and in the process of grabbing the phone, we went down to the floor. She started screaming. And I'm like, no, why are you doing this? And again, it was, trying to keep it calm. Well, this is when I put a knife on the counter. And I panicked, and that's when I stabbed her.
If this wasn't enough, then he revealed the most harrowing details that sent chills down their spine.
Where did you stab her?
Back of the head. Like the back of, I don't know what you call this.
When the knife slid in, was it difficult to slide in?
No. It was very easy.
Did it just slid in?
Yeah, I was very weirded out, like, by the whole thing. I can't believe I just did that, and I can't believe how easy it was. I don't know if warm butter is the right, but, between warm butter and an apple. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of soft. Once I penetrated with the knife, at that moment, I mean, I just wanted her to stop. And believe me, she stopped. And it was instant.
Joseph's revelations kept coming as a shock to the officers. Then, in between this unsettling situation, he said something that would only add to his insanity.
Please don't take this the wrong way, but if there's any comfort here, it's knowing that she did not suffer. I mean, it gives me a little bit of comfort. I mean, I know you guys are looking at me like, look, you're a savage piece of right now.
And this all started because you didn't want her to call 911?
I know it sounds really pathetic, doesn't it? I mean,
a little ridiculous.
I understand that. And you listen, I'm not happy or proud of what I did, believe me.
I don't think you are?
No, I'm not. I am sick over it. I haven't slept over this.
Days after his arrest, he takes the police to the place where he had dumped Janene's body. While searching the landfill, they find incinerated bone fragments, but were unable to confirm whether they belonged to her.
After exclusively telling CBS 4 News he had nothing to do with the disappearance of his wife, deputies put a Sunrise man in handcuffs and charge him with murder.
Till this day, her body has never been found, and the family is still waiting to say a final goodbye to her. On March 14, 2024, Joseph Traeger was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. At present, Joseph Traeger is serving a sentence of life imprisonment at Hamilton Correctional Institution Annex in Jasper, Florida. Janene's body was never found.
Savannah Police! Metro, go ahead and start me EMS.
Immediately as I stepped into the threshold of the door, laying on the floor next to the wall was a female victim, lying face down. As I walk into the room more, I can see another female victim.
This was the moment when a deputy made a horrifying discovery, finding 3 bodies within a house. But what would follow in this case, never before seen on YouTube, was a triple murder so twisted with lies and deceit, and with so many suspects, that the investigators doubted whether they'd ever be able to solve it.
And not sharing it with the police, to us, it's the same as doing it.
I told you everything I know.
You told me, hey, boom, boom, you shot Corey twice.
It seemed like the case may never be solved, until the 50-year-old aunt of 2 of the victims made the daring decision to go undercover and get them the crucial evidence they needed.
Everybody screaming my name, and I don't know nothing, just like I told you.
Right.
I had the pistol that night.
We're just trying to get a better understanding of what's going on and what exactly happened.
Savannah 911, what is your emergency? Hi, I heard screaming last night, and I just wanted to see if somebody could go over there and check. Okay, you said you heard that last night? Yes, sir. Okay, you heard some screaming. Did it sound like a male or a female or a child? I don't know. I just heard it. I didn't know whether to call this morning or last night. But once I didn't hear anything anymore or see anybody coming in or out the house, I just decided to call you all.
When this worrying 911 call came in on the morning of October 22nd, 2015, officers in the town of Savannah, Georgia responded speedily to the location of the call. When they arrived at the scene, the woman who had made the call met them on the street outside the house of concern. What she'd revealed to them would chill the officers to the bone.
Hello. All right, are you? Okay. You called?
Yeah, I called. Because I heard some, last night it was late. I was sleeping in my room windows there on the right there. I heard some gunshots. It sounds so close, like they was like in my yard.
The gunshots the woman had heard alluded to a violent occurrence the night before. But as the officer entered the house's yard and approached the door, he quickly realized that something was definitely wrong.
16 Bravo 1.
16 Bravo 1.
Hey, go ahead and start me another unit. I got an open door.
The open door signaled that something was off, and it wouldn't take long before the officers' worst fears were confirmed.
Savannah Police! Metro, go ahead and start me EMS.
The second he stepped into the living room, he noticed a male victim lying face down to the left of the door. But this was just the beginning of the horrors within this house.
And immediately as I stepped into the threshold of the door, laying on the floor next to the wall was a female victim, lying face down. Now, as I walk into the room more, I can see another female victim.
In addition to the male victim, there were two more deceased females within the house. All three appeared to have been shot during the night, which matched up with what the neighbor had heard. This was now a murder investigation.
I immediately think, well, this is no longer an open door. This is no longer a welfare check. This is a triple homicide. 3 people got killed.
The detectives arrived at the scene, ready to begin the investigation. The first thing they noticed upon entering was that there were 3 9mm shell casings in the living room where the male victim was found. In the bedroom where the 2 women lay, there were 6 more 9mm casings. It seemed each of the deceased had suffered the same fate, shot thrice to ensure there was no chance of survival. Then they noticed something telling.
There was no forced entry to the front door. We were able to identify the victims as Corey Marshall, Kiana Marshall, or brother and sister, and Alexis Kitchen.
The fact that there were no signs of forced entry indicated that the killer was likely someone known by at least one of the 3 victims. This was crucial information to the detectives. But as they were examining the scene and trying to find any pertinent clues, they were alerted to a commotion outside.
Yeah, they need to back all this. Any way we could back all this?
Chambers and Lina.
Soon the community started to come out. Now there's a massive amount of activity going on outside, which I like to coin as controlled chaos. We had moved the people back a bit.
I need some units on Gwinnett. Gwinnett Champion. I need them 1018. He got a big, large crowd out here fighting. Large crowd.
The community had heard about what had happened and was out in force. This included friends, neighbors, and others who knew the deceased, and naturally, emotions began to flare up.
Let's go. I need some units down here.
I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. I promise to God, I ran up on her like that. First of all, I didn't run on nobody.
Okay, no more conversation.
Somebody called my phone. You were sitting in the house last night too. You the red girl with the weed. They talking about. Okay, but when I left, I went to yellow car.
While a number of people were involved in the commotion, 2 young women escalated their conflict until it turned physical. The officers were finally able to separate them, but they found the women's behavior suspicious, especially as both seemed to be familiar with the victims, but didn't seem upset. Then they began to question both of them, wondering if their flared tempers could be indicative of them knowing more about what had happened.
How you doing? What's your name? Okay. What's going on here today?
Y'all need to talk to her. She know what's going on. She said that's real street. Who called her?
Okay with you?
So y'all need to talk to the one in that skirt, because she just go.
Are you willing to go down to the precinct and give a statement?
The officers were finally able to identify the 2 women as Jamaica Bell and Diamond Butler. But then they learned something that made their hair stand on end. Both women had been living in the residence where the murders occurred. Both had been there the night prior, and now both were pointing fingers at the other. It was time for the police to delve deeper into their stories So they decided to take both women down to the station to conduct detailed interviews. First up was Jamaica Bell.
Where do you currently live?
Where I was currently was there.
How long have you been living there?
Probably about a week now. A week and a half.
Who lived there with you?
Tiny.
Who?
Tiny.
Who else lived there?
It was just Kiana. That was it.
Bell told the detectives that she and Tiny, which was her nickname for Diamond, had been living in the house with Kiana for only about a couple of weeks before the horrific shootings had occurred. Next, she detailed the events of the previous night.
Who else?
I don't know them. It was only two of them. Tiny called somebody named Elo, and they came over.
Two guys?
Mm-hmm.
She explained how Diamond had called over two men, one of whom she knew as Elo, and the four of them had been heading out for a night out when they received a shocking call.
So, when were you last at the house?
I don't know. That's she called us. It was at 11 last night. She called me and was
Who was
like,
she?
Kiana.
Okay.
They was like, no, Lex called me. Was like, Kiana said, y'all need to come get y'all because she's trying to police. I said, okay, well, we're about to come get it now. We went back to the house.
Who was we?
Me and Tiny.
Kiana had ordered Jamaica and Diamond to get their things and leave, or she'd call the police, as they hadn't paid her rent for the time that they'd been living there. When they arrived back at the house, all three victims, who would later be found dead, had been present and alive.
Those are not my people.
So there was, you said there are
Tiny's people.
Yeah, you said people. How many were there?
Now, by the time we got there, now Kiana's home.
Gotcha.
So when we got there, she was sitting on a little brown thing on her house, and she's like looking at me. I'm like, why did you call the police? What's going on? And she's just looking at me like that. I'm like, what's going on? Talk to me. You feel me? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I was like, all right, whatever. So then they came to help us get some of my clothes and her clothes too.
Elo
and the other boy.
And the other guy.
Yeah.
You don't know his name?
I don't know his name. I've never seen the other guy.
All right, where's Tiny at this point? She's in there as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we got our stuff and left. But when we left, all of them was outside. Kiana, Lex, and Cora was all outside.
After ending the interview with Jamaica, the detective's main takeaway was that the four of them had likely been the last people to see the three victims alive. And while they'd Diamond and Jamaica with them, they had no idea where or even who the men who'd been with them could be. To learn more about the men and try to identify them, the detective sat down to speak with Diamond Butler next.
So you and Jamaica was staying in Kiana's house?
Yes, sir. And we was like renting out the room or whatever. So the girl Kiana said we gotta give her $250. She said I gotta give her $250 and Jamaica gotta give her $250. And she was like, y'all got until November 1st to come up with the rent. So she was like, okay. And we had company over there, and like we was drinking, playing cards and stuff like that. And like she just started tripping, like, oh, like y'all company too loud and all kind of stuff. And then she was like, I feel like y'all trying to play me. And we was like.
Diamond elaborated more on the dispute that had arisen between the two girls and Kiana and what had led up to her asking them to leave the house.
This was Tuesday night?
Yeah, Tuesday night. And we was like, we had a discussion where we was like, how are we trying to play you? And she was like, well, y'all didn't put her in the house. I had to get district surgery on my own, blah, blah, blah. And y'all give me no money, so I was like, y'all trying to play about the money. So we was like, well, you said we had it to the 1st. And it's not even the 1st yet, it's not even Friday yet when the make get paid. So she was like, I'm just saying, I hope that y'all not trying to play about the money. We was like, no, it ain't nothing like that. So
this is yesterday.
Yeah.
Now the officers knew what had happened the morning of October 21st, but they still needed to hear about her events of the evening and see if they matched up with what Jamaica had told them.
So we was in the house or whatever, and then that's when Corey called Jamaica phone with her brother, and he was like, where y'all at? And we was like, at the house. So he was like, I'm about to come over. So he came over there, and he was like, oh, she sent me over here to say y'all gotta leave.
It seemed Kiana had called her brother Corey over to help her kick the girls out of the house. This likely meant that Corey had not been a target, but had just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what Diamond would say next had the detectives listening carefully. She said she'd called a friend of hers over to help her pack her things, and then they'd left. They immediately moved to question her more about this individual, but what she revealed left them even more suspicious.
What's his name?
His name Dre.
Dre?
Mm-hmm.
Andre, DeAndre?
Dre. That's what everybody called him.
How many of y'all was it?
It was me and Jamaica and him.
So just three of y'all?
Mm-hmm.
So now we got inconsistency in the statement. We got one individual saying LO and another individual saying Dre. And you also have a statement where there was two males and a statement where there's only one. So somebody's lying.
Who out of Jamaica and Diamond was telling the truth? The detectives decided to put more pressure on the latter to try to get her to reveal more.
I mean, knowing who did it and not sharing it with the police, us is the same as doing it.
I told you everything I know.
But despite their best efforts, Diamond stuck to her story, insisting that she told them the truth. The detectives would need to look into other avenues to learn the truth of what had happened the night before. With each lead, the case became more complicated. Questions stacked up, but answers remained nowhere to be found. Who was truly involved? Who was hiding the truth? And most importantly, who was still out there? Investigators knew they needed to find Dre and Elo, the aliases for the men the girls had mentioned in their interviews. If they had any information, it would be the key to breaking the case wide open. But before they could track them down, something unexpected happened that would send the investigation in an entirely new direction.
At this point, we had to find LO and Dre to determine if they had any information about this case. While we were looking for Dre and LO, a sergeant was involved in an incident where a shooting had occurred, and he gets behind a vehicle that had left the area and attempted to stop it. That vehicle ran and at some point stops, and three individuals exit that vehicle. He chased down one of them, who was found to be Dwayne Abney. Witnesses also informed him that it was a male and female that ran from the vehicle in the opposite direction.
You're gonna walk to our car, okay? All right, come on up.
Initially, the investigators had no idea who Dwayne was. They'd taken him in because he was the only one of the three suspects who had fled and was caught. They expected it to be a routine interview following the traffic incident, but they had no idea they were about to get far luckier than they could have imagined. Dwayne Abney was about to reveal information that would turn their entire investigation upside down. Dwayne Abney was about to become a key figure in the unfolding mystery. And as the interrogation room doors closed behind him, the truth was about to take an unexpected turn.
What's your name? Ducky. Huh? Dwayne. Dwayne what? Abney? You were in a car that got chased by the police, and everybody jumped out of the car. Was that correct? Okay. Who were you in the car? Who were you riding with when they fled?
It was one of my friends, but really not my friend, just somebody like she around Democrat.
Who's he?
And they call him Elo. I don't know his name.
They call him Elo?
Elo wasn't just another name thrown into the mix. He was already on the detectives' radar. They'd been searching for him, and now, with Dwayne Abney confirming he'd been in that car, the urgency to track him down grew even stronger. But the question remained, was Elo just running, or was he running from something? And more importantly, did he have the key to unraveling this long-standing mystery?
So during the course of this investigator's interview, he mentioned LO. And when he mentioned LO, we were notified. So we created a lineup of people who had warrants. And we had a detective that had no knowledge of the case go back in and present him with a lineup.
Now came the actual test. Saying a name was one thing, but could Dwayne Abney actually pick Elo out of a lineup? To keep things unbiased, a detective who had no prior knowledge of the case was brought in to present the lineup. If he identified him instantly and with confidence, it could change everything. All eyes were on Abney. Would he give investigators the necessary confirmation, or would this lead hit another dead end?
All right, could you initial that, please?
He affirmatively identified an individual. And once you get a suspect identified, the case then moves forward at a blistering pace because you're trying to figure out who he is, where he is, what he's doing, where he's going, who's he associated with. Is he still here? But we're also still looking for this guy named Dre. And we had to determine who he was pretty quickly.
The detectives soon discovered that Elo was actually James Hampton, giving the investigation new momentum. Now they needed to track him down, his whereabouts, his companions, and whether he was still in the area. Every second mattered. But Hampton wasn't the only one they were after. Dre was still a mystery, and they had to figure out his identity fast. The deeper they dug, the clearer it became. This case was far from over.
We needed to find James Hampton immediately because he was in the car with Diamond in Jamaica the night of the murders. I was now in day 2 of this investigation, and I was informed that Diamond Butler wanted to turn herself in, and she showed up barefoot, tattered dress, kind of in distress.
Before investigators could track down James Hampton, the case took another unexpected turn. Diamond Butler had turned herself in, barefoot, shaken, and wearing a torn dress. She didn't look like someone on the run. She looked like someone with a story to tell. Something had pushed her to come forward, and whatever it was about to change the course of the investigation.
Hello? You okay? I'm Detective Reese. You're Diamond? Nice to meet you, Diamond. You want these for your feet? What's in your shoes? Oh, I took them off when I was running from the police. Alright. So what went on today? You said you ran from the police. Oh yeah, 'cause me and Elo and his homeboy was in the car. So he got blue lighted. They was about to pull him over, but he didn't stop. He just ran off. And then he was like, we about to hop out and run. Who said that? Elo. I had to go to court for auto theft and stuff, and I thought I had a warrant, and I wasn't trying to go to jail, so I ran too. We pulled over and ran out the car. Okay, who was driving the car? Elo. Alright, and who was sitting in the front passenger seat? Pepe.
Diamond's story filled in some gaps, but it also raised new questions. She confirmed she was with James during the traffic stop, just like Jamaica had been with him on the night of the murders. James Hampton's role in all of this was becoming more evident, but there was still one missing piece: Dre. Who was he? And more importantly, what part did he play in this deadly chain of events?
When you jumped out and ran, did you run with Elo? No, they ran the opposite way, and I ran in the bushes. Okay. There's too much going on, and I'm in the middle of it, and it's something that I didn't mention when I talked to the other detective earlier. I didn't want to say who my homeboy was that had took me over there to get my clothes and came back with me, because he already had a warrant for shooting somebody in the leg, and I didn't want him going to jail or getting in the middle of it, so I just said his name was Dre, but his name Elo. Okay. But I didn't want to say that because he was already on the run.
And just like that, the mystery of Dre unraveled in an instant. There was no Dre. It had been James all along. A fake name, a fabricated identity, one more layer of deception in an already twisted case. But now that the truth was out, one thing was certain: this wasn't just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was more to James Hampton's story, and investigators were getting closer to uncovering it.
Run through that story, run through the events with me that happened from last night. It's the same thing. The only thing I left out was Elo's name. Like, I kept saying his name was Drake because I knew he had warrants and stuff. And then I left out his homeboy because his homeboy be doing crazy stuff too. Which homeboy are you talking about?
The puzzle was nearly complete. Diamond had finally started talking, and now the key players were all on the board. They knew they'd been in that car the night of the murders. 3 had been questioned. Only 1 remained. James Hampton was still out there, and if investigators wanted the whole story, they had to find him before it was too late. The investigators soon received a call, one that changed everything. Leticia Lewis, the aunt of Kiana and Corey, had found James's location. But what truly shocked them wasn't just the tip, it was how she got it.
My sister and I got a call that Ello was in Yamacraw. And Gina was like, Thais, we got to go to Yamacraw because that's where he's at. So all right, let's go. So we went there. When me and Regina gets to Yamacraw Park, he's on the park playing basketball. And then Regina, she walks up and she was like, hey, let me talk to you for a minute.
At 50 years old, she'd gone undercover, willingly stepping into danger. She wasn't a detective, but she wanted to find the man linked to her family's tragedy.
This is a situation. When they pull up, they wanted to fight, you feel me? And I told them, I was like, y'all fight them, I'm pulling straight off, you feel me? If I refuse on letting them fight, you feel me? Why would I do something like that? Everybody screaming my name and I don't know nothing. Just like I told you.
Right.
I had a pistol that night. Feel me? I don't got my pistol no more because everything that's going on. They tell me I got 2 outstanding warrants on the news. I already know a 1-on-4 for something that I did and somebody telling on me.
We're just trying to get a better understanding of what's going on and what exactly happened. Because all of a sudden, Kiana telling y'all to get out because y'all disrespect that girl.
Yeah, that's
and
that's
Kiana,
what I told.
only thing she tried to do was help them. Now all of a sudden, y'all getting kicked out, and my baby's found dead in the house.
I knew Corey for years. And I told my sister and my mama what type of boy Corey was. My sister touched her heart and said it had to be an animal that took that boy life. That man, since
it had to been an animal that had took 2 girls' lives.
He denied, deflected, and distanced himself from what had happened that night. But in his words, there were cracks, slivers of truth slipping through. This wasn't just a conversation. It was a carefully planned move to get the truth straight from James himself.
Thais called me on the phone and told me that she had just spoken to James Hampton in Yamacraw and that she had recorded the conversation, and she told me he was still there. So I got on the radio and I told patrol units, that James Hampton, who is a potential suspect in this homicide, is currently in Yamacraw, and I advised them to use caution because we knew that James was very dangerous, possibly armed, and he's known to flee, and it was just really important that we got him off the street.
This was it. James Hampton was right there. No more guessing, no more chasing leads. But taking him in wouldn't be easy. He was known to run, and worse, he could be armed. The officers had to act fast. One wrong move, and he could disappear again.
Once we had received information from the victim's family that they had gone and met with Hampton, we set up operation to have him arrested for the warrants. Units located him on the basketball court in Yamacraw Village, and they were able to surround the area and take him into custody.
James Hampton was finally in custody. After days of chasing leads and dead ends, the search was over. At last, the detectives had him in the interrogation room. Now, it was time to break his story apart.
You said your name was what? They call me Ello. Alright, the night that it took place, you feel me? I came there. The girl Diamond texted me. She like, oh, what's up? I want some. You feel me? I want to chill, smoke, get high, drink, turn up. She texted that to my phone. You feel me? So I was like, I'm about to pull up. We pulled up. They jumped inside the car. We went, me and Pep, the boy Pepe.
You know his real name?
I don't know his real name, but we can call him Pep.
Okay.
Pepe.
Y'all pull up to where?
The house in Carr Village where everybody got killed. So when we pulled up, the girls, they hopped inside the car.
What time was that?
This was around about 11, 12 at night. You feel me?
So it's just you and Pepe?
Yeah.
And then y'all pick up Diamond and who?
The girl Jamaica.
The tension in the room was rising. James was talking, but was he telling the whole story? He painted a picture of a night that started with frustration, but ended in murder. The investigators weren't buying it just yet. They needed more, and they were about to push harder to try to get it.
We got out the car, we were trying to figure out how we gonna fit the bins inside the car. So what the girl name is with the dreads who got killed, Kiana.
Okay.
I started talking to Kiana. I'm like, Kiana, how much you want? He's like, how much they owe you? Kiana was like, it ain't even about the money. keep disrespecting me inside my house, they gotta go. I don't even want no money from them.
Inside the house, was there a physical altercation?
There was never a physical altercation.
No fist thrown, no hair pulling.
Ain't nobody never fought inside that house. If somebody would have fought in that house, I would have pulled off.
Do you have a gun?
Nah. And
You don't own any guns?
I don't own no guns.
James was caught in his web of lies. Just hours earlier, he admitted to having a gun while talking to a 50-year-old aunt of 2 murder victims.
Just like I told you.
Right.
I had a pistol that night.
Now, face-to-face with investigators, he denied ever owning one. But his own words betrayed him. His story was falling apart, and detectives weren't letting up. As detectives pressed James Hampton for answers in the interrogation room, a separate team of investigators secured a search warrant for his house, combing through every corner, determined to find any piece of evidence that could finally seal the case and tie him to the brutal murders of Corey Marshall, Kiana Marshall, and Alexis Kitchens.
Metro Police, come out if you're in here. The whole thing?
As they combed through the house, expecting the usual clues, they stumbled upon something they never anticipated. They came upon an eyeglasses case with bullets inside. They were the same type used in the murder. The investigators also recovered a phone from his house. With his phone in hand, investigators secured a search warrant, expecting to find call logs or messages. But what they uncovered was something far more incriminating. Buried within the gallery were photos of James posing with multiple guns. And then, one image stood out. He was holding a gun nearly identical to the one used in the murders.
James had multiple pictures of firearms in his cell phone. But what really piqued my curiosity was there was one particular picture that he had taken roughly an hour before the murders. And it was a picture of what appeared to be him holding a high point firearm, which is what the murder weapon was.
Based on these pieces of evidence, James was arrested and charged on an outstanding warrant for aggravated assault.
Please send up.
I didn't feel that James was being completely truthful given the bullets that were in his bedroom. At the end of the interview, James was arrested for his arrest warrant that he had for aggravated assault, and he was taken down to jail. I knew that at this point, I had my work cut out for me.
However, despite the mounting suspicion, authorities didn't initially charge him with homicide due to the lack of concrete proof linking him directly to the murders. Despite the mounting evidence, the police were growing frustrated. They had nothing solid enough to directly link James or Dwayne to the murders. It was like having all the pieces to a puzzle, but none of them were quite fitting together. Then, just as the case seemed to stall, something unexpected happened. An inmate from the county jail came forward, offering chilling information that would soon change everything.
Who have you been speaking with at the jail?
My roommate, James Hampton.
Are you actually in a cell with him?
Yes.
Okay. Is this him? Okay. Go ahead and just tell me what you guys have been speaking about.
He told me, yeah, bro, the guy don't want no way you ask me about the murders or whatever, because you know me, I don't try to be nosy and stick my nose in people's business. And he was like, yeah, I did kill all 3 of them.
And then he said something that tied the whole case together.
I was like, no, and kind of shocked me. As soon as he told me that, my whole body got chill bumps and everything, I was like, bro, so what happened? I said, well, it been an argument or something like that. You never told me what they argued about or nothing like that.
Every detail he described painted a darker, more disturbing picture of what had really happened that night. With each word, the police began to realize just how brutal and horrifying the crime truly was.
See, he left and he went back to the house, knocked on the window to get Corey to come to the door. He said, when Corey came to the door, he walked to the back to see where the other 2 females was at, basically pacing, seeing who all was in there. And but like this, they closed right here because he basically played them in the sense of letting them figure he was coming back to get the girl's clothes. And I guess once the guy Corey who pointed out me clothes or whatever, he told me, hey, boom, boom. He shot Corey twice. It was the female, one of the females trying to run, boom, boom. And he hit her. One female was balled up or something like that, boom, boom. He hit her. Basically, he said on his way running back out, he seen Corey, I guess, trying to crawl to the back door, crawl, and he made this look like he was dying or whatever. He hit him one more time and ran out the door.
With the crucial information they gathered, police decided to search Dwayne and James's cells, hoping to find any evidence of communication inside or outside the jail. Their goal was to determine if the two of them had been coordinating their stories or reaching out for help. And this decision didn't disappoint. Inside the cells, officers uncovered multiple letters.
One of the letters went to Dwayne Abney, who was also in jail, laying out in chronological order what he should do and what he should say in regards to this case.
With a mountain of evidence stacked against James, there was no doubt about his involvement. But one crucial piece was still missing: the motive. To uncover it, police decided to bring Diamond in for another round of questioning. At first, it seemed like it might be another dead end. She remained cold, refusing to answer. Investigators were on the verge of giving up. Then they changed their approach. Instead of pressing her with hard facts and accusations, they shifted to a sober, more personal tone while showing sympathy. And that brought about a breakthrough they were desperate for.
I'm sorry you had that childhood that you had. I can't, personally, I can't even imagine. It breaks my heart even to think about having to do the things that you've gone through.
And slowly, the ice started to melt. After a few moments, Diamond broke down. She finally started speaking, telling the truth the police had been waiting for.
So you and Jamaica got dropped off in Yamacraw, right? Like you said. You guys got your clothes, you got dropped off in Yamacraw, you get out and go into his apartment, right? And then does he leave with Pepe? So it's just him and Pepe in the car? Okay. So then, after you said they were gone, how long? 15 minutes. Okay. So he comes back 15 minutes later, and it's him and Pepe that come back. And then when did he tell you that he did it? Was it just you and him, or when did he tell you that?
When he came back in the room.
Did he who did he say in front of?
He said it in my ear, because when he came back, I was hugging up on him and stuff, and then he whispered in my ear, and he said, "I killed all of them."
What did you say to him?
I was like, "Why did you do that? I didn't tell you to kill him."
What did he say?
And he was just shaking and he was sweating.
The detectives finally had the motive. They gathered that Diamond had been asked to leave the house, and in an attempt to impress her, James committed the crime. With this confession, all the pieces fell into place, confirming what investigators had been trying to prove all along. Dwayne Abney, James Angelo Hampton, and Diamond Butler were charged with the murders of Corey, Kiana, and Alexis on December 15, 2017. James was convicted on all charges in the indictment and sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 35 years. Dwayne Abney was also found guilty on all charges, receiving 2 consecutive life sentences with the possibility of parole, followed by 15 years. Diamond Butler pleaded guilty and testified at trial. In exchange, she was sentenced to 90 years in prison for aggravated assault and conspiracy to commit aggravated assault.
If you wanted him to wet or shoot up that house, what did you say?
I said yes, and I said I don't care.
The lead prosecutor says Butler's testimony against Hampton helped determine their case.
With the verdicts delivered, justice was finally served for Corey, Kiana, and Alexis. What began as a frustrating investigation full of dead ends had unraveled into a case built on undeniable evidence, confessions, and motive. James, Dwayne, and Diamond would spend the rest of their lives behind bars, their actions forever altering the lives of those left behind. Though no sentence could undo the tragedy, the convictions brought a sense of closure to the victims' families.
Like, like you be in the house by yourself, you hear a sound. All right, Lex, behave up there. And I know she's not there. But I'm always talking to Alexis.
Even James's father was overcome with remorse, unable to comprehend the depth of his son's crimes.
Even though it's my son being convicted of this, they lost their loved ones. I was so grateful to see them able to smile.
The case stood as a reminder of how crime, no matter how calculated, leaves a trail, and that justice, even when delayed, will always find its way.
Scared. Bye-bye.
This lady wanted someone dead, but one slip-up would turn the entire case against her.
Well, obviously, the least message better.
Okay.
For both of us.
Okay. Option one.
Snap it back.
And then two is what?
Shoot.
In January 2013, Northland police were stunned by a man who had arrived at the station with some shocking claims.
I said, Jan, I said, you're going to go to jail for that. You know, I said, that's illegal. I said, that house does not belong to you.
But this was the beginning of a sinister plot they were about to unravel.
He has too much knowledge of my life that can come back and bite me in the ass.
It all began with an unexpected tip-off to Northport Police Department in January 2013.
You're here today to give us information regarding some kind of real estate scheme to defraud that was brought to your attention.
That's correct.
This is John Chamberlain, who's here to report her longtime friend and current employer, 49-year-old Janeene Jones. But little did John know, he was about to throw open the doors to a case full of shocking turns.
She was buying up foreclosures and wanting me to do the plumbing renovations to them. And that's when it really started taking off.
This started off as good business. John thought he had struck a great deal. Janeene, a Northport, Florida landlord, owned 13 vacant houses, fixing them up and renting them out for a steady income. As a plumber, it was a win-win for John, with extra cash and a stable place to live that Janeene gave him.
And how long have you been in there?
I've been in there since June.
So, from my understanding...
June last year.
Oh, June of last year.
Yes. Things started good, and then recently she told me she didn't need my help and she needed me to get out.
But John couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. And once his suspicion radar went off, there was no turning back.
I've seen them just hop through the window, drill the lock, change the locks out. They've keyed all these properties to the same lock.
Right.
I don't go in there anymore, but this is the key for it.
Gotcha.
I mean, you can have it if you want. I don't want anything to do with it.
Janeene didn't actually own any of the houses. Instead, she was running a carefully crafted scam, renting out properties she didn't own, tricking unsuspecting tenants, and pocketing the profits. To make it all seem legitimate, she showed fake property documents, claiming the actual owners had handed over the homes in exchange for her covering their taxes. To execute this fraud, she even had a perfect scheme that she used.
She was mad because she didn't want anybody to be able to trace anything back to her. That's what it was. So she had a little burner phone that she would give the number to her rental people.
John had also become a part of this scheme unknowingly while working for her as a plumber, until he got to know the truth.
There was a tenant in one of these homes that Janeene was renting out. That tenant was at her home that she believed she was lawfully renting, and somebody showed up at her door claiming to own the house.
She said, I rent this house from Janeene Jones. And they said, we don't even know who that person is.
However, he believed that Janeene was incapable of harming those who rented or owned the houses. That's why he decided to confront and warn her.
I said, Jan, I said, you're going to go to jail for that.
But how did it all begin? To truly understand John's claims, the officers needed to go back to the very start.
Why don't you take me back to, how you came to know Janeene?
I met Janet approximately 9 years ago through church, and I became friends with her husband, Max.
Janeene Jones was born in Tawas City, Michigan, and later pursued her career as a correction officer at Charlotte County Jail in Florida. She was already a two-time divorcee raising a young son when she met Max Jones, a carpenter, in 1991. She married him the same year on October 12th, and it wasn't long after she became pregnant with their first son, Zachary Jones, better known as Zach, in 1992. Max tried his best to be a responsible father.
My happiest memories is with my father is every time he'd have like a side job, I was able to go with him, and it was always pretty cool to see my dad in action.
2 years later, in 1994, they welcomed their daughter, Alexandria. Now their family looked complete, and everything seemed perfect, until Janeene lost her job a few years later. But the reason behind this was enough to raise red flags.
She told me she used to be a guard at the prison a long time ago, and I guess she was fired because she had some affair going with an inmate.
But this was just the beginning. Things were about to get darker. With no income, Max became the sole breadwinner, leading to stress and fights between the couple. But what they didn't know was that their lives were about to take a devastating turn. On November 27, 2011, Max suffered a fatal heart attack at the age of 51 years, which resulted in his sudden death.
I'd come home and found that there was 2 police officers sitting in the road, and they walked up to me and said that my dad had passed. And I asked my mom what happened, and all she told me was he had a heart attack.
Janeene appeared to be a distraught wife who now had sole responsibility for her kids. Fortunately, she received a $1 million insurance payout from Max's death, which she invested in a real estate business that ultimately turned into a whole scam. This marked a turning point. As Janeene appeared to move on with her life quickly, she decided to make significant changes to her appearance.
The first thing I noticed was Jan decided that she needed to get boob surgery, which I thought the timing was kind of different, but I said, oh, whatever. I said, everybody grieves differently. What do I know?
After Max's death, Janeene moved to a new house with her children for a fresh start. But just 6 months after her husband's passing, she began dating several men, while also consuming drugs and alcohol. It was then that she met 26-year-old Matthew Smith, who was half her age and just 2 years older than her son, Zach.
Right away after her husband died, I can't judge, but she was like out there immediately with a new boyfriend. This Matthew Smith, he actually came about, he was her cable guy.
Shortly after Max died, her response upon seeing him was, how would you like to be my boy toy? And his response was, I'd love to. He was very much her boy toy, and he liked having a sugar mama.
She pranced him around like it was a new pony is what she would do. She spoiled him. I've never seen nobody be spoiled like that before.
And yet that wasn't even the strangest part. Amy Wright, Janeene's friend, had a front row seat to the bizarre dynamics between them.
Jan called me out of the blue at like, it was the late hours at night and asked me if I would be interested in a threesome with her and her new boyfriend. And I was like, no, that is not up my alley. And then she proceeded to ask me if me and her could have a sexual relationship and Matt watch. And I was like, yeah, that's not something I'm into either.
Janeene's whirlwind romance with Matt took a dark turn, leaving her family in shock when they discovered she had married him. Just 6 months after Max's death, in July 2012, she stunned everyone by announcing at a gathering that she and Matthew had tied the knot during a trip in Las Vegas. Her children were particularly taken aback by the news. In the following months, Janeene and Matthew embraced an extravagant lifestyle, bolstered by the profits from their new real estate venture. Matthew wasn't just her husband, he quickly became her business partner as well.
Just all happened really quick, and boom, before I know it, they owned 4 or 5 houses. I was thinking, wow, this lady, she's got a good business going for herself.
But her haunting past was quickly catching up.
Yeah, she knew him for a few months before they went to Vegas and got married. Right when her and Matt first got together, it was brought to my attention that she was being investigated for allegedly killing her ex-husband, Max. And she said that it was, that it was being dismissed for inconclusive evidence.
Coming back to the scene in the story where John was here to report her now, this wasn't the first time he had sensed something was wrong. He recalled incidents where Janene's requests raised red flags, making him suspect she was hiding something.
There would be a lockbox on the door, and she said these houses have sat so long they can't contact anybody that has the key for them, and so we got to go in there and drill the locks off. I did like 1 or 2 for her, and then I told her, I said, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't do illegal stuff like this. And I knew at this time now that she was involved in illegal stuff. You know, if someone's defrauding people, I wanted to tell them everything I knew so that they would know I had nothing to do with this little scheme that she was doing.
With her unusual behavior, the police suspected something fishy, and they had already begun looking into her possible involvement in her first husband's death. Now, with a possible murder investigation of her husband on one side and fraud allegations on the other, Janeene was running out of places to hide. But that left one central question unanswered. Was Matt entirely in the dark, or was he the second mastermind in this case?
Was that Janeene and Matt both, or just Janeene, or just Matt, or?
No, that was both of them.
Both of them.
And I've heard it out of Matt's mouth that none of these houses are legal, and that he was trying to get Jan set up where she'd be like making $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
Yeah. So who's the brainchild of this? Is it Jan?
Absolutely. I just can't believe what she has turned into.
John was the only one who knew the full extent of her fraud. Therefore, Janeene considered him a threat and wanted him out.
I knew that there was something wrong, and she knew that I knew that there was something wrong. But at the same time, she's just kept smiling at me, and I kept smiling at her. And it was like, we know each other much better than this. Like I said, she was not real happy with me. It actually escalated to the point where she had Matt come over and serve me with a summons. I pushed him, and he went on his ass and rolled down the driveway. He came up there screaming and hollering at me that he was going to kick my rear end and throw me out of here and all this other stuff. That said that I had 3 days to get out of the property, that they were evicting me. Not only did she file legal paperwork to have me evicted, but she actually retained an attorney to represent her on this matter.
Realizing he was in danger, John wasted no time reporting Janene's fraudulent activities to the authorities.
Once I became aware of what she was actually doing with this rental scheme, I came down here and spoke with Detective Stewart's and told him everything that I knew.
The detectives had enough to push forward with the investigation. They were certain Janeene was keeping more secrets. Now it was only a matter of time before they brought everything to light. The officers geared up for a daunting investigation against her for fraud, but nothing could have prepared them for what was coming next. Janene's friend Becky made a call to the police station to report something that would horrify even the officers.
I received a phone call from a confidential informant. They said somebody wants to have somebody murdered. The case witness said that she is friends with a lady named Jan. Jan had said that she wanted to have somebody murdered that knew a lot about her, knew too much about her life.
The target on Janene's hit list was none other than John Chamberlain, the man who had reported her real estate fraud earlier. John had reported her alleged fraudulent activities with integrity, but that act made him the target of her dangerous scheme. Now his life was in grave danger, but even more alarming was her plot to kill him, a scheme that would haunt everyone involved.
She says, I wish I could get rid of him for good. I turned to her, I was like, what do you mean? She's like, for good. Then she called me the next day on the phone. She's like, hey, do you think you could find somebody that could help me with the John issue? Like, I didn't really know how to respond to it. She was a little bit more pushy with the second phone call. Hey, did you check on that favor for me? And I was like, yeah, I spoke to a guy. I was like, I will get back to you on that.
Both Becky and Janeene met at a restaurant called Sweet Tomatoes for lunch to discuss their plan.
John Chamberlain?
Maybe somebody coming up there to meet you. It would have been a meeting in Hatmore. Oh. Matt. Oh. They were about house today.
Janeene knew the walls were closing in, but she wasn't going down without a fight and came prepared. She doubled down, plotting a plan so solid it could outsmart even the sharpest detectives.
Is it just him now? Him and his daughter. Him for a long, all time. How old is he? 11? Like that. Leave the door alone at night. The house that's up to the end of the house. So he's coming home, he's coming home at night then?
Still in shock, Becky asked Janeene again if she was sure about wanting John dead, or if she had considered just scaring him instead.
I was not going to do. He had a shitload of questions. That's fine. That's why I asked you who was in the house. Mm-hmm. Does he have any dogs? 2 cats. I wanted to know, like, scared. Bye-bye. Can I ask you what you're sure you wanted to do? Yeah.
With Janene's unwavering determination now confirmed, Becky asked her how she wanted John to be killed.
So we're gone. You want to leave any body? You want to take the body? Do you want to leave the body? Take the body? They want to dispose of the body. How soon do you want him done? And you want him to take the body? Huh? And you want him to take the body? And you're sure? Like this is something straight?
I'm leaving next Wednesday to go on cruise. And I'll be going until Sunday. So, can we do it before that or after?
You want him to suffer?
Janeene had planned it all. She was already beginning to create an alibi for her by selecting a moment that would be most convenient and would be least likely to draw attention from investigators. After hearing Janene's entire plan laid out so confidently, Becky warned her about the risks involved and the price that came with taking someone's life.
You said 25, but you said you wanted more. So, we said it depends on the risk. The risk it is.
Becky made it clear that she had no interest in getting into trouble, but she knew someone who could carry out her plan perfectly.
He's from the streets, but he's smart, right? Because if it goes on you, it's going to come back on me. No, I know. So what he was asking me is, how do you want it? He sleeps in the back bedroom. Yeah. He wanted to meet you. And I said, I don't know how she's going to feel about that. He's in line. I'll do it. He wants, you're willing to pay him, and I'm not even sure.
A few days later, Becky reached out to Janeene, instructing her on something she would need to set the plan in motion.
I'm going to be honest with you. Go get you a little track phone with $10 on it, because we're not doing a whole bunch of cars today. Right. If you go to dollar store, they're $8.
I don't want to put my credit card on there, because then it's attached to me.
That's right.
I only want cash.
Did you get that worked out?
Oh, yeah. They won't waste too much information online, so I'm going to try and take the phone back and go to Metro.
Metro, they're going to have you on camera, babe.
What am I going to do?
Janeene then finally received the call she had been waiting for, the call from the person who would help her carry out her plan.
Morning.
Hey, what's up? Homegirl said you're looking to get some work done.
Mm-hmm.
How soon are you trying to have that done?
I'm leaving next Wednesday to go on a cruise, and I'll be gone until Sunday. So, you either do it before that or after.
Why don't you have it done while you're doing it? That make more sense, right?
Yeah.
I want it all written down. I mean, if you want it, I need to know where he lives. I need to know his friends. I need to know what he drives, and I need a photo.
Okay.
You get all that?
Yeah. It might be fun.
Now the time had come that Janeene was eagerly waiting for, and she, along with Becky, then decided to meet the hitman to discuss the execution of their plan. However, just as Janeene sat in the car, she exhibited some strange, almost absurd behavior.
Hello.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing
Good.
I don't shake hands. Yeah. But nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yep.
How's that?
All right, you gotta tell me where to go to. Yep. You're gonna go back out on Price. He doesn't know about Norfolk.
Put your seatbelt on. I don't need them white boys. I don't know how y'all work out here, but they
They will pull your ass over.
they'll get you for anything.
The hitman, however, had come prepared, wasted no time getting straight to the point, but what he was going to hear from Janeene would shock him to the core.
You talk to my baby girl, she'll tell you, I'm serious about my shit. I think come down here to play around. What are you thinking? You know what I mean? Because once you give me the money, that's it.
After brief pleasantries, Janeene wasted no time and got straight to business. But as the hitman began asking her for information about the plot, it revealed a cold, sinister side of her that no one had ever seen before.
But I mean, there's no mistaking he's bald and...
No twin brother, no, none of that.
Most of his family's up in New York.
Okay.
He's got a daughter, which I don't care about.
As if plotting John's death wasn't enough, Janeene also didn't want his daughter interfering with her plan. Her calm and emotionless demeanor depicted a far sinister picture of her, casting doubt that it wasn't her first time orchestrating such a crime. Determined, she took the hitman to John's house, pointing out exactly where he needed to strike. When he asked her how she wanted it done, she replied in a calm and stoic tone, detailing every step with chilling precision.
This house, that's what's up to the back left front. It's vacant. That's a possibility. The neighbors aren't really out when it's dark.
No, those look around, nothing like that. All right, so exactly how do you want it done?
If you think just snapping his neck and putting him to sleep that way.
I'm by my. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do it how you want me to do it. You know what I mean? So you can be satisfied. I can do it any kind of. You know what I mean? I'll burn his ass out, snap his neck. How you want me to do it, I can do it. I'm asking you, how do you want me to do it?
Well, obviously, the least message better.
Okay.
For both of us.
Okay. Option 1.
Snap his neck.
And then 2 is what?
Shoot.
He has too much knowledge of my life that can come back and bite me in the ass.
Oh, okay.
She even handed the hitman a blueprint of John's house, making sure he could navigate without any trouble. Just when it seemed like this was the final step in her twisted plan, Janeene took it even further as she revealed yet another target she wanted gone.
That don't work. Only thing he does is the houses for me. He's the next one on my list.
Yeah. How would you want that one done?
Something along the lines of carjacking.
It seemed like her hunger for money was far from satisfied, and now she wanted her current husband, Matt, gone too. After all, he was more valuable to her dead than alive, as she planned to collect his hefty insurance payout. With her previous husband gone under suspicious circumstances, she now plotted his removal, showing no sign of remorse. The hitman and Janeene both agreed to a standard amount of money for both murders, and Janeene handed the hitman the money without hesitation. Janene's act of plotting the murder of her current husband casts a dark shadow over her character, cementing her reputation as a rising black widow.
I have one here. I have one at home. I have 2 in my bank account.
Once you give me the money, that's it. It's a done deal. It's to be done. Deal.
She stepped out of the car to encash the rest of the amount, but there a bombshell dropped on her. Janeene had unknowingly walked right into a meticulously planned trap, one that would soon unravel everything she thought was under her control. This was just the beginning of a series of bombshell revelations that would shatter her world. First, the friend she trusted, Becky, was actually Amy Wright, the confidant who knew nearly every secret about her life. Then she was confronted with the most staggering shocker for her. The hitman she had arranged to kill John wasn't a criminal at all, but an undercover officer, Dominic Harris. Her own friend Amy had been working with the police from the moment Janeene expressed her desire to have John killed. Every moment of the setup to get the truth, from the staged meeting to the conversation with Janeene, was recorded on camera, leaving her with no escape from the overwhelming evidence against her.
The hitman was not actually a hitman. The hitman was an undercover detective with the Sarasota Police Department. Dominic Harris ended up being a phenomenal undercover agent. He played the role of hitman just beautifully.
With undeniable evidence against her, there was no way out.
Janeene had a shocked look on her face. She was definitely surprised that, oh my gosh, now there's the police here. And that shock turned to anger. And she had a very angry face. She was not happy that she was getting arrested. She scuffed her knee when she was taken to the ground. She urinated in her shorts.
On February 25, 2013, Janeene was arrested and taken into custody.
A Northport woman is behind bars tonight accused of plotting a murder for hire. Police say she tried to get 2 people killed. One was her husband. Our James Jackson tells us how she was caught through Operation Black Widow.
The investigators believed she supposedly targeted Matt because of the payout she was supposed to receive from his insurance policy. They then turned to her supposed target, Matt, her husband, and informed him about her plot. He was shocked upon learning the truth, but investigators had reasons to believe he was an ally to her for her real estate fraud.
Matt's reaction was to clam up. He told law enforcement he did not want to speak with them, and he just shut down. So that made me suspicious about his involvement.
However, after a few weeks of investigation, the police gathered enough evidence to arrest him for real estate fraud. On March 15, 2013, Matt was taken into custody and charged with multiple counts of burglary and real estate fraud. Returning to Janene's sinister plots, they had already arrested her for plotting to murder not 1, but 2 people. But what was to come was even more terrifying. After realizing her evil actions, the people became suspicious of her actions involving someone else's life.
In the community, people were suspicious. They were surprised at Janene's behavior, but nobody was ready to convict her in their minds. It was just enough to be suspicious.
All she told me was that he had a heart attack, but never really told me any details. And I knew my dad didn't have any heart issues. I knew he had stomach issues, but the heart attack kind of threw me off guard. And I kept asking her why this happened, and she couldn't give me any answers.
Max's family was really concerned about having an autopsy done. They wanted to know what happened to him. Once she said no, she's going to get a cremation, she cut off all ties with Max's family. So that put in some leery vibes in the air, and rumors started to spread quickly. There was even people posting on her social media about her killing her husband. She would then quick delete it.
Although they had never thought Janeene to be this evil, but with her sadistic plot unraveling now, it was becoming more evident to everyone about what she was capable of doing.
Janeene Jones has potentially been involved in the murder of her previous husband, Max. Now she wants to have other people killed for money.
It wasn't totally a shock because we knew that she had likely killed her former husband, Max Jones.
These suspicions were further corroborated by the doubts her own family had against her after Max's death. It was revealed that Max died suddenly, but what led to his death was severe stomach problems, resulting in substantial weight loss and multiple hospitalizations. Even the doctors were unable to diagnose what was wrong with him. But it wasn't always this way. In the days shortly after Max's death, the Northport police did try to investigate his cremated remains, hoping for answers. But they hit a dead end, as no test could prove that his death was anything other than natural.
So there was no indication that his death was a result of homicide. You can't determine homicide based on cremains.
Finally, Janeene Jones was accused of serious criminal charges, including a murder plot and occupational license fraud for a real estate scheme, after being arrested in February 2013. In January 2014, Matt Smith was sentenced to 6 months in county jail with evidence linking him to forgery, and he was also given 4 years of probation and ordered to pay $17,500 in restitution. He has now completed his probation.
Eventually, Matt Smith communicated through his attorney that he would be willing to engage in a plea deal in which he would testify against Janeene in the solicitation to commit murder trial in exchange for a more lenient sentence for him. That offer was immediately rejected. Furthermore, I did not feel it was appropriate to call him as a witness.
The sting operation was proven to be significant evidence against Janeene in court. In 2014, she pleaded no contest to the solicitation charges, meaning she accepted the punishment but did not plead guilty. As a result, Janeene was sentenced to 2 life sentences in prison without the possibility of probation. This was a significant growth from her previous scams that included murder attempts. Officials also investigated the suspected death of her ex-husband. Before his death, Janeene assured him for $1 million. Although there was no direct evidence to connect her to his death, the circumstances raised serious questions, but due to no evidence, no charges had ever been made. Janeene's judgment emphasizes the serious legal consequences of solidarity crimes. She is currently serving 2 life sentences in prison with the possibility of probation. A simple report of fraud led the cops down a twisted path and fortunately resulted in Janeene's arrest before she could claim any more lives. The detectives successfully solved the case and brought justice to the homeowners and the victims, including John Chamberlain, who was betrayed by his longtime friend.
Why they were reading the sentencing off to Jan, and when they were reading the sentencing, his father turned to my side and grabbed my arm and said, "Thank you for getting justice for my boy."
She deserves what she got. We all said, well, somehow they maxed out justice.
This case became notorious, dubbed as Black Widow Scam. However, the tragedy also left a long-lasting impact on Alexandria and Zach, who not only lost their father under suspicious circumstances, but also Janeene's action had already destroyed the trust of those around her.
Every feeling I had to talk to my mom was kind of gone. When I found out all the evidence, I had no respect left for her, and it just kind of went away. I think the most thing I miss about my dad being around is for him to tell me he's proud of me.
This closure brought some relief, but the scars of deception and betrayal will take time to heal. Although the detectives were unable to determine the real cause of Max's death, what do you think? Was Janeene actually responsible, or it was just natural?
Started my video camera, I looked down like I was looking at a text, and I started the video, and I put the video like this.
This man had recorded something horrifying. His ex-girlfriend's confession was about to open the door to a murder investigation.
Now, what are you gonna do?
What do you mean?
That I told you.
I can't believe that you murdered.
Not me. Me and my sister.
I can't believe that you...
Don't put it just on me.
What started as a simple recording quickly pulled detectives into a dark and messy case where the truth kept slipping through the cracks.
I thought I could trust him. Then he was trying to attack me. What do you mean? I had sex with him for eternity.
At first, the police were skeptical regarding the information Marshall claimed to possess, but his air of confidence in the interrogation room would soon begin to convince them otherwise.
I have video. Okay. It's not on here yet. I brought this to help facilitate transferring it to you. Okay. Do you mind us letting us see the video? It's on my phone right now. Like I said, my phone's private. I like to keep my phone private, but I have to transfer the video. Can you transfer the video there? I'm going to try to do that now. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And then what I'm going to do is you go to your anywhere in this building that you can find a thumb drive. Yes, sir. And I'll give it to you. This way, this will stay. That's fine.
Marshall claimed to have vital new information regarding the death of Anthony Tomaselli, a senior citizen who had passed away 4 years ago. At the time, the death had been checked and ruled as natural causes, but Marshall claimed that he had learned that its nature was far more sinister than it had initially appeared.
Now, you said you received some, so let's start from the beginning, okay? What made you contact us here? Well, I was told by a friend. And who's that friend? Linda Roberts. When did you see her? Yesterday.
He then went on to explain that the information had come to him from Linda Roberts, none other than the daughter of the deceased. But the police needed to know more, so they began to press Marshall about how he knew Linda. But the twisted explanation he would reveal would leave them floored.
How long have you known her?
Since I believe it was maybe September of last year.
What's your relationship with her?
Friends.
Friends? Any intimate relationship?
There was.
Okay. I want you to be, see, the thing is I want you to be very honest with me. Okay. So just tell me what happened, what transpired with this?
With which part?
With this whole yesterday's, how did you meet her?
I met her sister first.
Okay.
Her name is Mary Beth Tomaselli.
Marshall revealed that he had met Mary Beth on Facebook the year prior. The pair had gone out on a few dates before Mary Beth had introduced him to her younger sister, Linda, whom Marshall was immediately smitten by. He and Linda had then proceeded to engage in a secret affair. But before long, Mary Beth became aware of this, and all hell broke loose between the sisters.
So you had an intimate relationship. How long did that last?
Just a couple occasions with the sister Mary Beth, and then more with Linda. But pretty much came to an end. So.
When did it come to an end?
Off and on. The end was sort of about a month ago.
Marshall said he broke up with Linda because she seemed mentally unstable. After that, she began stalking him, making fake social media accounts just to keep tabs on him. Then in February 2019, she begged to meet one last time, claiming she just wanted to explain. But what she told him that day shook him to his core.
So like a week went by, and then this happened yesterday. She said, please, I want to talk to you. I have to tell you something very important about why this has happened, why I'm this way. I know I've said things and done things that have upset you. And she asked me to come over to talk in person. I did. I went over. And then she started telling me, you don't understand what happened to me in my lifetime and why I'm this way, why I'm so messed up. And she said, it has to do with my father. And I said, wow, that sounds pretty bad. Of course, I was assuming something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I know people. I've talked to people. I know I have a little experience in people that are messed up because of their parents. You can tell me if that's what you want to tell me. She said, I've never told anyone. Nobody knows.
Just then his phone rang, breaking the flow of the interview.
And I said, well, these kind of secrets. Well, there she is.
Just ignore it.
Really?
Yeah. You could call her back.
We'll call her back.
We'll call her back later.
We'll call her back, yeah. Let's talk to her.
The only thing is she's on her way back. She expects to meet me.
Okay.
Just hold on.
No.
No?
No, just let it go.
We'll just.
No, you can call her back. It's totally, it's no problem.
Fine. Okay.
Just don't want to break up what's going on here. That's all.
You got it.
After silencing Linda's call, Marshall continued with his story.
So, she, I assume that I'm helping her divulge something that happened to her as a child that she had repressed. And I do like her. She's a nice lady in a lot of ways. And so I felt bad that what she was about to tell me. I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you don't understand, I've never told one soul. Nobody knows. I've never told anybody. The only person that knows is my sister. She knows. I said, oh, geez, this is going on with her as well. I said, tell me. She said, it's nothing sexual, if that's what you're thinking. I was like, that's what I was thinking. You're damaged from sexual abuse as a child. She said, no. I said, then what is it?
Marshall had assumed Linda wanted to talk about her abusive father, but that wasn't it. What she said next was far more disturbing. She told him her father's ghost was haunting her in her dreams and at night. Then she dropped a bombshell that made everything horrifyingly clear.
She said, I ended my father's life.
Is that what she exactly said?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then what did she say? How did it? And then when she said that, what did you do?
I was shocked. And then she said, actually, we ended my father's life, me and my sister. And I said, how did you do this? It was chilling to me. Okay.
Could both sisters really have conspired to take the life of their own father? The thought alone was hard to grasp. Marshall continued explaining to the police what he had done next.
I started my phone video at that point. Okay. I only missed a couple words after she said I ended my father's life. I started my video camera, I looked down like I was looking at a text, and I started the video, and I put the video like this.
He showed the cops the recording, and they could scarcely believe what they were seeing and hearing. Everything Marshall had told them was backed up in the footage of Linda. But there was a problem. Marshall had recorded the footage in a way that made it inadmissible in court. No matter how shocking it was, if the police were to truly build a case against her, they would need a real confession. To get what they needed, the cops came up with a bold plan, asking Anthony Marshall to meet Linda again and record their conversation secretly. Marshall was to meet with Linda again, this time wearing official police recording equipment, and try and elicit the same confession. But Marshall hoped to do even more.
She's texting me that her window's closing, and if we play this right, we might be able to talk to Mary Beth. I might be able to talk to her, and Mary Beth will walk in from work, and I might be able to spring it on. I think that's the best way. Mary Beth's a loose cannon, but if she walks in and says, "What the hell's he doing here?" I might say, "She just told me about that," and she might go, "Oh."
Right.
You know what I mean?
We'll work it out. we got some things coming over here, and we're gonna.
Oh, thanks. Just tell me.
I know, we're gonna get the devices and stuff like that, okay? Hang tight here.
Eventually, he was fitted with the recording devices and sent to speak to the sisters. It was a risky plan, as if the sisters got wind of the police's involvement, they could very easily have tried to escape. But in a stroke of luck, they suspected nothing, and Linda was all too ready to go over the details with Marshall again. When he returned to the police station with the recording, everything had worked perfectly. It was now time for the police to analyze the footage, but even they could never have expected just how twisted the confession would be.
This is very hard for me, Anthony.
I know.
I've never told anybody this.
I guess not.
And obviously, I would deny it if you ever told anybody.
Why would I tell somebody? What good is it going to do? You said the body's cremated.
Yes, it's cremated.
Your father's cremated.
We've already been through an investigation. The police.
Who investigated?
The police were there.
The police of where?
Well, so let me tell you. He lay down on the couch.
Wait, this was 7 years ago?
4.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
You killed your father 4 years ago.
Do you have to say it like that?
Well, but
and
that's...
don't just say it to me, because it was my sister too.
And Mary Beth.
Correct.
Anthony's tone clearly showed how disturbed he was by what he'd just heard. In response, Linda's expression changed, and there was a flicker of remorse. But instead of owning up to anything, she shifted the blame onto her sister, Mary Beth. And she didn't stop there. She kept going, spilling even more details about the crime.
We euthanized him. We didn't kill him.
Well, euthanasia is not legal.
Well, it is, because hospice does it all the time. They give you the lethal dose of morphine. I've seen it. I've done it myself.
So you think that if you take it upon yourself that your father is suffering and no medical, but he was at home, he wasn't taken to the hospital, you think it's upon your, look, I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but did you really think it was upon yourself to decide whether he should be euthanized? I mean, they arrested that Jack Kevorkian guy.
He didn't want to go to the place that this beautiful place that he was going to go live in. Like 6 of them in a little bit, because he had a drink every night anyway.
Who had a drink every night?
My dad. I said, just put him in a little bit of alcohol, 6, 7 of them, and stir him up, because he was waiting for a drink.
A beverage, alcohol?
Yeah, vodka. So, what does she do? She makes a drink this big.
Mary Beth?
Yes. Instead of making a little drink, she makes a big drink. Because The 7 Halcyon, I think it was Halcyon that he was taking, which are very strong, would have been plenty enough to just let him go to sleep and sleep peacefully. So she makes a drink this big. Well, he can't drink a drink this big. So I looked at her and I said, "You f***ed up."
The words coming out of her mouth would send chills down everyone's spine.
I said, so she already handed him the drink. He takes about 4 swigs of it, 5. And in about 15 minutes, his hands started shaking. He was dropping his prayers that he was saying, his holy cards. But I knew he didn't have enough in his system.
Enough what?
Of the Halcyon.
What is Halcyon?
Halcyon's a sleeping pill. It's strong. It's as strong as you can take.
Wait a minute. Your father was taking Halcyon on his own even though he's losing his mind?
No, the doctor was giving it to him. He was prescribing it to him.
To your father?
Yes.
But your father was overusing the Halcyon.
He told the doctor, "I'm going to take what it takes to put me to sleep at night."
And his doctor said, okay, do what you got to do?
Yeah. He's basically my
And then since you and Mary Beth knew that he was overtaking it, you thought that would be the way because it wouldn't be suspected that you gave him the Halcyon because he was overdosing himself.
Right.
Okay. So that was your plan. So you would dissolve 7 Halcyons in the alcohol.
But instead of putting 2 shots in a cup of vodka, she fills the whole thing up with soda and all this other stuff.
Right, made like a real drink.
Yeah, and she hands it to him. So he took enough to knock him for a loop, really knock him for a loop. But this is very hard for me, Anthony.
I know.
I've never told anybody this.
This was a calculated, cold-blooded murder, and there was no other way around it. According to Linda, their motive for killing their father was to end his suffering. But in reality, they took fate into their own hands, deciding who lived and who died.
Did you guys discuss money before you did this, how you could inherit?
No.
It had nothing to do with money?
Nothing to do with money. It had to
Are
do
you
with
sure?
what we were living with, what we saw, and the doctor had just told me, your father has a massive cancerous, his whole lung is full of cancer. He may have 2 months left to live.
But there's been miracles in the past.
Okay, so what do you want me to do now? Go confess to the police?
As Linda realized things were starting to spiral, she grew more cautious. She consistently reminded Anthony that Mary Beth was just as involved in the murder as she was.
I didn't say to do that. Only you know what will set you free.
Nothing will set me free. So then why do you think now what are you going to do?
What do you mean?
That I told you.
I can't believe that you murdered.
Not me. Me and my sister.
I can't believe that
Don't put it just on me. We made the decision together as a pack.
She's a dumb. You're the ringleader. You know that. The first person to think, let's just euthanize him, was you. You know that. And she agreed.
No, it really wasn't.
And she agreed.
No, that's not true.
Oh, you both said it at the same time? You went
Actually,
1, 2, 3, let's euthanize.
We both decided at the same time because actually, you don't know my sister. My sister has a temper 10 times worse than I do. See, you don't know if this ever got out and my family found out.
I'm not telling your family. What the fuck is that going to do? It's not going to bring him back.
Bring him back? Are you kidding me?
Right.
They would probably try to put us in jail.
Well, they will put you in jail for murder.
With this valuable confession in hand, the cops moved quickly and brought Mary Beth in for an interrogation on March 5th, 2019, hoping to get a clearer picture from her side of the story. Mary Beth was already terrified because she had heard the police knew more than she had hoped.
First of all, do you have any idea why you're here? A slight idea or anything why you're here at the sheriff's office?
I think I may have an idea, yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. Tell me why you think you're here.
It's okay. Listen, Mary Beth, I like honesty, okay? I'm looking at you, and I know something's been bothering you. okay? And that's normal. Do I think you're a bad person?
No.
I don't, okay? Do I think people make mistakes in life, okay? I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We're not perfect.
The police's reassuring words helped Mary Beth relax, and soon she began to open up.
This one night, I came home and my sister was in the medical field. She's a certified medical assistant.
Oh, she's an assistant?
A CMA.
Okay.
What's her name?
Okay.
Linda Roberts.
Okay, continue.
She said to me that she had been thinking about Dad and his situation with his lung cancer coming back, with what we were going to deal with, his dementia, him not understanding, and what it was going to be like for him. And the way we felt he was suffering, the way we felt he was suffering, she said she thought that perhaps we could put him out of his suffering.
Okay.
Was this a conversation you had in person or over the phone?
No, together.
You were together at his
We were
house?
laying in bed together.
Okay, okay,
No.
just making sure I understand what we're saying. Okay, continue, sorry.
So you guys were laying, it was you and your sister?
Yeah.
Okay. And this was that Wednesday?
I believe
Wednesday
it
or
was
something?
Wednesday. I
Okay.
believe it was on
So then
Wednesday.
what did you say to that?
Well, at that moment, after everything, the way things were at this time, I had hesitations. However, I understand I don't have the right to take someone's life, if that's what you're asking me.
Mary Beth also stuck to the same story that their motive for killing their father was to end his suffering.
I couldn't see my father at 88 going through, sorry, I could shut up.
That's okay.
Going through this surgery. I didn't think he was going to make it through the surgery, this dementia. I couldn't handle watching my father suffer this way 24/7, the way he was going. And unless you lived with him and saw him, and I was with him from Friday night through Sunday morning when I went to work, I was the one that was with him. I honestly felt that I couldn't watch my father suffer this way.
Okay.
So I agreed with her.
The police had finally gotten what they needed. Mary Beth confessed that she was involved in the crime. With that confirmation, they shifted their focus to uncovering how the murder was carried out.
And what was the plan?
Her plan was my father took sleeping pills at night. He took Xanax as well and blood pressure. And cholesterol. I don't remember exactly what medications my father took. She said that if we were to do this, when my dad had a drink that evening, on that Thursday evening, that we would put, she thought, I think 15 of his sleeping pills, and I don't remember if they were capsules, honestly, or if they were tablets. Put it in his drink, and he would make a big drink.
What was that? What kind of alcohol was that?
Vodka and Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Okay. I believe.
You would drink this every night?
He would drink 2 or 3 every night.
2 or 3 a night, okay.
And most nights he could hardly walk, and he was always falling
Okay.
in the bed. Falling, getting out, going into the bathroom. She said we would put the sleeping pill in his
drink?
In his drink when he asked for it about 9 or 10 o'clock. I can't remember about it.
So far, everything Linda and Mary Beth had said on different occasions matched up. But what Mary Beth was about to reveal next was deeply disturbing. She explained that the amount of sleeping pills they had used didn't quite have the desired effect, and Anthony opened his eyes immediately. The sisters were desperate and decided to smother him with a pillow, hoping to finish what the pills had failed to do. But the irony was chilling. They claimed all they wanted to do was end his suffering. Yet when the pillow didn't work, they panicked and resorted to something far more horrifying.
We have to get a washcloth, put it in his mouth, and we're gonna have to hold his nose and
Hold his
we
arm.
had to finish what we had started.
Okay. So at that time,
I believe I held his, I don't know how I held his nose, and I had to try to hold his arms down because.
so you kind of pinned him down.
Yeah,
Okay.
with
So
his hand on his
was he
wrist.
fighting? So he was fighting.
He was fighting. Of course, he was fighting to get breath.
Okay. So then.
But so this happened. I mean, it didn't take very long for this. Then once there was no air coming in, I don't know, a few minutes maybe.
Okay.
I honestly, I didn't black out, but I can't. It was like an out of body experience. I can't remember exactly, but that's exactly how it went.
At this point, the whole situation had turned utterly barbaric. After committing the crime, the sisters called 911.
Called the sheriff.
Now, who did the calling?
Honest to God, I don't remember.
How did you get your daughter?
We called 911. Yes, we
your
called my daughter. Yeah, my daughter. Called 911 and said we found my father on the couch and he's not breathing. My sister did actually jump on top of him, was trying to do CPR.
Which you guys knew.
Yes, sir.
And it was all planned for when it burned.
One night was planned.
So what I'm saying is, so when the deputies arrived.
Oh no, yeah, I don't know why she did that.
Did she do CPR while he was on the couch, or was he moved?
No, on the couch.
She tried to do CPR on the
She
couch.
only weighs 100 pounds, so she sat on top of him and was trying to do CPR.
Okay, all right.
So whether it was she was trying to or
Acting like she was
oh my
trying
God,
or something.
What did we do? That can't be in her mind
Of course
at this
not.
point, and in mine at this point.
Mhm.
But it was, I'm telling you the truth.
But what Mary Beth revealed next would raise serious suspicions about Anthony's health leading up to the murder.
So who decided at that time what story to tell the deputy of what happened?
Oh, he told them that we mixed him in his drink, and which is true. Sometimes he would stay up till midnight and watch basketball games, or whatever, baseball.
Right.
I don't remember, but the TV was on, and which was nothing basically other than what we had done was unusual for my father. He would
That was his regular routine.
His regular
except
routine.
for the other.
What we did.
Except for putting the pills in
Yes,
there.
he would have gotten up and made his own drink, 2 or 3 more drinks,
Okay.
and then stumbled to bed.
According to the sisters, Anthony was in pain, but their statements pointed at a different picture. He was just a happy guy who watched sports and had a few drinks until midnight. This didn't match their claim that he was dying and suffering from chronic dementia.
I don't remember all the questions, but they asked who's the person that fills your bottle. He had a pill bottle.
Pill count.
And I was the one that filled the pill count
Okay.
at night or once a week. And so I had to count each one and so forth, and everything, came out exactly.
As it should, because you didn't use any of
I
those.
didn't use any of those. Or
You
any of
used the
this.
ones that your sister brought.
That's correct.
Let me ask you, who decided to, or was it a joint effort, and who decided to use her pills versus his? Was that just a
Oh,
joint
hers.
thing? Was hers Linda's? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it makes sense. I understand what you're saying. Let's make sure I'm clear on what you're telling me. I understand.
The police then asked the next question. Did anyone else know about what they had done?
Who else have you told about this or talked about it? I know who was there, but since this point.
The only person is this monster of a man that I met this.
Do you mean he's a big person, or what do you mean?
No,
He's a
I'm
monster?
saying he is a very bad.
He's a bad person, is what you're saying. Okay.
I met him. I went out with him 4 times.
Right.
His name is Anthony Marsh.
Okay.
He sat me down on the couch, and he said, I want you to tell me the truth. He said, your sister told me something, and I want to hear it from you. I want to hear what your side of the story is, opposed to what she said. And right then, I knew that my sister had obviously told him.
Right.
And he said that she told him that it was my idea.
But there was one thing that stood out. During Anthony Marsh's recording, Linda revealed that Mary Beth was bankrupt and that her father's property could help her get back on track. The police, of course, asked about that as well.
Money was never the object of it. It was watching my father suffer. I've lived on my own. I dated off and on, but no one serious. I took care of myself.
Okay.
I didn't do it for money.
I understand that.
That never, ever.
It was not part of this.
If it would have been anything, I would have signed the money away. And honestly, whatever I inherited, it went all to my children.
Okay.
I did buy a condo. A mobile home, and I did buy my father's car, and the rest went for my children, my grandson's private school, and so forth. Not that I'm trying to.
No, I just want to get a clearer picture of what's going on. Obviously.
So she told him it was my idea. I did it because I had filed bankruptcy. I had no money, and it was. I did all of that.
All of it not true though.
And all of it's not true. It was my sister's idea.
Just like you described to us.
Yes.
Exactly how it happened.
However, unfortunately, I'm not playing tit for tat or anything, but we have had a very rough year because my sister is a pathological liar. She's evil. I'm sorry.
Your sister is?
Yes. Evil person.
Mary Beth denied every claim, and just like Linda, blamed it all on her sister.
I hate to bring this part of this up, but I'm going to have to. It's going to come out, and I don't want to try to get in your business too much. This 4 times that you saw this Anthony person, you're saying?
Yes. Did I have relations with him?
Yes.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. And then you decided to break it off, and all that's still true.
Yeah.
It just happened the way it happened.
Yeah, I have it. I blocked him immediately that night that I did, and I've never, ever. And she, till this day, she still thinks that I have a secret way of talking to him and so forth.
She's jealous?
She's jealous of me.
Even though you're not, that's not happening.
No, I found a wonderful man that I've been dating now 6 months, and remarkable person I've ever met my entire life.
Right.
And she was jealous of that.
And she wanted that.
She wanted that. So I'm starting to see where we're going here.
Mary Beth made it seem like the whole Anthony Marsh fiasco had turned into a sibling rivalry, claiming that Linda was trying to frame her. Regardless, based on the information she provided, the police decided to arrest her. However, the cops weren't buying the motive the sisters gave. They believed something more sinister was at play. To dig deeper, they brought in Mary Beth's daughter, who also lived at the house. She revealed that her grandfather wasn't suffering as much as they claimed, and he wanted to spend his final days in peace.
He was adamant about not going to an assisted living.
And what did your mom say and Linda say about that?
They argued with him about it. Like, you need to go. You need to be watched 24/7. Like, kind of like they felt like it would bother me, which my grandfather and I had both agreed that it was not a problem for me to stay and take care of him. He was happy at this point.
Right.
You know, he was happy playing cards with me and watching Price is Right all day and going to lunch. Like, he had a life. He did not want to be stuck in an assisted living facility with old people, as he called it, because I'll just die there. And that's what he said.
Okay.
He did not want to go there. Okay. But they were not happy with his decision.
The 2 nights prior, my mom and my aunt were there.
Did they always stay there?
They didn't. I was staying there. Like, they'd come visit him, but I was the one after Shirley died that they wanted to move in.
The investigation had reached a turning point. Detectives brought in Linda, hoping to uncover the real motive behind her father's death. What she didn't know was that officers already had a recorded confession, clear, detailed, and damaging. But Linda stuck to her story, calm on the surface, denying everything. The pressure was building, and what you're about to see is the moment she tries to cover a crime that was already uncovered.
I was looking at a report. So your father's deceased, right?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that?
About what?
About what happened. What happened?
What happened to my father?
Mm-hmm.
The doctor, well, his companion died 3 weeks prior to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had dementia.
Okay.
And he was going to go into Brookdale.
Okay.
My brother and sister and I all decided he was going to Brookdale.
Okay.
So he didn't want to go there, but he had to go there. It was a beautiful place.
Right.
And my sister and I moved in after Shirley died to help take care of my father because he had nobody. I could hear my father had lung cancer 7 years ago.
Okay.
And he was with Shirley, so I wasn't involved in his medical care during that time when Shirley was alive. Well, when I was there, my father he said he felt like he had a stabbing pain in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this awful cough, very productive. And so I recognized that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So my niece, who was also staying there, I said, call the doctor, make an appointment. They need to do a chest x-ray, see what's going on with my dad's lungs. He said, my dad told me and my sister, he said, I don't feel good. He says, I'm going to lay down on the couch. And they had 2 rockers on either end. He said, would you mind staying up while I lay down here and sleep?
Okay.
I said, of course, sure we will.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to sleep, snoring away. And it was probably about 2, 3 in the morning. My sister said, why don't we go lay in Dad's bed and get some rest? He's sleeping, he's quiet.
After a few minutes of dodging questions and repeating her story, Linda still believed she was in control, but the detectives were done playing along. Finally, they dropped the truth, and her entire story started falling apart piece by piece.
They gave us a very detailed account of what happened, so I'm just trying to tell you there's no mystery about what happened.
They gave a detailed account?
Yes. I'm not bluffing, and you know I'm not bluffing.
And I'm not. And I'm being upfront with you, okay? And I know things, and it's time right now for you to, I know it's been weighing in on you all these years, which would be understandable, okay? It would be understandable. That's normal to weigh in this much.
But I don't believe the person that told you is a trustworthy person, and that.
All right. Well, who is that person you're talking about? What are you talking about? You keep saying this person's not trustworthy. What person do you have in mind?
A certain person that.
Well, I know, but what is that person's name?
Anthony Marsh.
Then why is he not trustworthy?
Well, you can look up his criminal background and see that he's been in a lot of trouble.
Okay, and what's your relationship with him?
When I am single, I was seeing him for a short time. I was seeing him.
And when did that start and when did that stop?
It started in probably July of last year, and I still continued to have seen him.
Okay, so it's an ongoing, so it's still happening. So you're not historically past that. That's an in-progress thing still happening. You see him on a routine basis, right?
Well, routine, but I don't know what you call routine.
Okay, I'm not going to split hairs with you. Routine with the definition of right. You see him frequently.
At least weekly.
Okay, weekly. We'll settle on that. That's fine. And you feel that this person's untrustworthy?
Very untrustworthy.
Linda was starting to shift focus, blaming the man who exposed her, while still admitting she was seeing him regularly. But the detectives weren't interested in her relationships. They were closing in on the truth, and now they were about to confront her with something she couldn't explain away.
Then if he's so untrustworthy, why are you still with him?
Probably for the same reason I was with Ted.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What do you think about as your sister? You guys get along?
Well, we have our whole life just got along. Recently had a little mishap in our life, but Yes, we love
So
each other.
you love each other. So
We left the apartment loving each other.
okay. And does she tell you everything?
Oh, I don't know. She tells me everything.
No.
By everything, you mean?
Everything. I mean,
we talk, but.
What's your relationship? Are you guys like best friends?
Yes, we were very close.
So you trust her?
Yes.
Okay, let me just walk you through this a little bit, just to bring you up to speed. Okay, the conversation that you had with Mr. Marsh,
yes,
we were listening to that conversation. Okay?
Okay.
So we can cut to the chase that there was no joking about this. I have crystal clear clarity, so you can read between the lines, okay? I actually had the same clarity with your sister
You talked to her?
about an hour ago. So I'm going to tell you one more time. You're not going to come out on the end of this in a very good fashion because you're telling the truth about what happened. We try to give you ample opportunity to tell what happened, but now you know that I know what happened.
I wanted to know who told it.
I just told you that.
Okay.
So we're going to cut through the BS. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Now answer his questions and let's move forward with this. Okay? Do you understand?
I understand, but you don't have to be rough with me.
Ma'am, I've given you 3 or 4 opportunities to tell the truth, and we were very upfront with you, and you're not being upfront with us. He said, I'm going to be very upfront with you about what happened, and you kind of disrespected him a little bit by not doing that. I'm just trying to put us on the right path here. Do you understand that? Okay. We will be fine, but I can't have you wandering off the reservation. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, so now let's walk through this again.
So talk to us a little bit now.
Okay.
Tell me
my
the truth. My
sister and I were lying in bed, and my father had dementia. He was calling both me and my sister by my mother's name. I knew he was dying because he had this mass in his lung, cancer. And she said to me, she held my hand and she said, I can't remember the exact words, but you can't let Dad suffer like this. And we were both crying. And so she said, can we euthanize him some way to put him out of his misery?
Who said this? I didn't hear that part.
I don't know who said it.
But it was said, is what you're saying. Just so you understand what you're saying. Go, continue, sorry.
And I said, well, he takes his double sleeping pills, so would you give him a few more sleeping pills? And he would just go to sleep.
Detectives were now trying to understand what drove Linda to do this. At the time, she was in a relationship with Anthony Marshall, but she was also still in contact with her abusive ex-husband. Their marriage had been violent, and even after getting a restraining order, she kept going back. To the detectives, one thing was becoming clear. This wasn't just about abuse. It looked like Linda had killed her father for money and property.
What made the decision to do this? Why did it prompt that night?
When the doctor called and told me.
You have no idea.
I had no idea.
It was, that more likely it was going to be fatal. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay.
And he was in such misery and mentally so out of it that you know the rest of the story.
My guess is, let me ask you this. You must have been torn about this. I mean,
I was terribly torn about it.
I understand. You have your father that's there and he's suffering, but ultimately this was not proper or not lawful. Let's just put it that way. You're a smart person.
At the time, I felt I was euthanizing my father and helping him.
I understand that.
That is my honest answer I give you.
But looking back and looking at it, I mean, you're smart. You got your certification with the, for an assistant, medical assistant. You're a smart lady. I mean, do you think that's lawful for someone to do?
Take the morality out of it.
Anthony told me no, it was not lawful.
You don't, let me ask you this, you don't know independently of Anthony telling you that whether that was right. Forget was it morally right or anything, I'm just saying lawfully, you had to know that was not lawful. It was legal to do that.
No, I guess it is not legal to do that.
Right. Because if it was legal to do that, you would have came out and just told us what happened. And you didn't do that. You knew there had to be a downside to this.
Already told me that it was not legal to do what we did. I felt I euthanized them and put them on the sick leave.
I understand.
have nothing else to say.
No, I understand. But that's because you saw your dad was suffering. I totally understand that. But if you take that part of it out, the act of just doing that is not lawful, is what I'm trying to say. This is where we're at. That's why there's a problem.
With her father's death, Linda stood to gain not just property, but control over the family home, something that could bring immediate relief to her financial burden. The pieces were beginning to fall into place. This wasn't about relieving her father's suffering by euthanizing him. This was about money. The motive was now clear, but detectives wanted to be sure. So they left Mary Beth and Linda alone in the room and listened. No questions, no pressure, just the two of them talking freely. What they said confirmed everything and ended with the one thing they both feared most.
Can't I say anything?
You didn't say anything to them?
Yes, I had to tell them.
And so did I. Because you told so much.
I know. Because I thought I could trust him.
Everything's recorded in here.
I already asked.
I already told him I knew it was. He came to my house.
Who did?
And
When?
Thursday.
And he told you he was going to do this?
He told me he wanted to speak to me. It scared the shit out of me in my driveway. In my car. In the garage. Because I had to talk to someone. Boy, I had no idea what could be so important. He insisted because I had him in the house. He told me what he told him, that he was trying to blackmail.
What do you mean?
Have sex with him or he'll turn me in. I said, if you turn me in, I don't care. I have nothing to say. But he came back. Try again. This is what I'm doing. I thought I could trust him.
Why? I was having a hard time. I was having dreams.
You
They weren't speaking to me. I had no one to talk to.
You weren't speaking to me either. No, because we're going to jail.
The sisters were clearly in shock, realizing just how deep they've gotten into this mess. What they thought they could keep hidden is now coming to light. There's no easy way out. They're scared, and the weight of it all is starting to hit. 4 years after the crime, justice was finally served. Mary Beth and Linda Roberts were charged with first-degree murder after reaching a plea deal that avoided a trial. Linda was sentenced to 20 years in prison, while Mary Beth received a 15-year sentence for agreeing to testify against her sister. The case was now closed, and both women faced the consequences of their actions.
Most effective way.
There's something that had happened to her. She's no longer with us at the moment. I'm sorry, to have to come straight out and tell you that. That's why That's why I really did not want to speak to you on the phone.
This 35-year-old Tommy Lyle Carlton had planned the perfect murder.
Done, brother. Thank God. Done, man. Look at this stupid man in her car. I was hiding in the woods, man. I couldn't find her ID, so I said, I snapped a picture and took off in the woods. Perfect, dude. But you can watch the news tonight or something. I'm sure it's gonna be on there. You know what I'm saying? So great. But I just wanted to show you to know where it's done. Sweet. All right.
But in exactly 17 minutes, he would witness the most shocking twist of his entire lifetime. For the first time on YouTube, we're presenting a case so full of shocking twists, you'll think it's a movie script. But it was all too real. In 1996, Tommy Lyle Carlton and Elizabeth Nicholas were both working as nurses at a medical facility in Florida when they met each other. The duo became friends quickly, and soon after, sparks began to fly. They got married later that same year, and their lives seemed to be blissful. In 1998, their son Eric was born. But with the birth of their only child, their marriage began to suffer. Tommy started to grow distant, and the couple found themselves arguing constantly over mundane issues. However, 6 weeks after the birth of their son, Elizabeth made a shocking discovery. While Elizabeth was recovering in the hospital after undergoing gallbladder surgery, she was visited by Tommy. He'd brought their son Eric to the hospital and told Elizabeth that she needed to keep him for the night. He then introduced her to a male companion before admitting to being gay. Tommy left the hospital for dinner with his companion, while Elizabeth felt the stirrings of betrayal rising in her chest. Over time, Tommy spent more time away from home with his male companions. Angered by Tommy's deceit and exhausted with the verbal altercations that had started to get physical, Elizabeth filed for divorce in 2000. After their divorce, Elizabeth and Tommy shared joint custody of Eric, but their son primarily lived with Elizabeth. For a while, their arrangement worked well. Tommy was also ordered to pay Elizabeth child support, which he did regularly. For the first few years, it was all going well, but soon, Tommy stopped making child support payments. It began after Elizabeth decided to start dating again. When she got into a serious relationship with a man named Jay Saltzman, the bitterness between the ex-spouses thickened. Not only had Tommy failed to make child support payments over a few years, he wanted to fight for custody for their son Eric. Tommy believed that Jay and Elizabeth were endangering his son's life. Tired of the ongoing conflict between herself and Tommy, Elizabeth filed for a motion to have the child support terms modified. After a few hurdles, she was finally given a court date for May 14, 2009. After Tommy received the order to appear for the hearing in January 2009, he took a complete U-turn. He stopped taking any of Elizabeth's calls and didn't make any contact with his son Eric. It was as if he erased himself from their lives. But it wouldn't be long before their lives were inexplicably intertwined once again. Tommy had sinister intentions for Elizabeth. He'd met a man named Ricky Donovan in June 2008 while attending Narcotics Anonymous, a non-profit fellowship. After striking up a friendship, Tommy told Ricky that he was looking for ways to take his wife out of the picture. According to Tommy, Elizabeth and her boyfriend Jay were harming his son Eric, and he wanted full custody of his child. Ricky then introduced him to another recovering addict named James Wood. Over the next few weeks, James and Tommy developed their own friendship. Like Tommy, James also had a son from a previous relationship. However, James hadn't seen his son for years, as his ex-girlfriend wanted nothing to do with him. It was then that Tommy revealed his plans to get rid of Elizabeth to James. These included poisoning Elizabeth and tampering with her car to make it look like an accident. Tommy went as far as to suggest that if James helped him kill Elizabeth, he would kill James's ex-girlfriend so that he could be with his son. Initially, James didn't take the situation seriously, but after Tommy kept talking about it every time they met, James offered him a solution. On May 4, 2009, Tommy met James at the Quality Inn Hotel in Osceola County. James had informed Tommy about a friend named Billy who could help him to solve his problem. Without Tommy's knowledge, the meeting between James, Billy, and himself was being recorded by Billy, in case Tommy tried to back off later. At first, they began with casual conversation. Soon after, Tommy explained to Billy that he knew his son was being mistreated by his ex-wife and her new boyfriend.
With this guy who's beating the scrap out of my son. I can't see him, they want me to see him, talk to him, nothing, he's doing that. He's like, call me up on the phone, crying. The last time I talked to him, I called him on the phone, he was crying. He's like, come get me, man. And he's crying. He's fucking, he'll turn 11 in June.
Afterwards, the three men decided to get some food. Tommy appeared to be uncomfortable in the hotel room and asked both Billy and James if they wanted to sit in his car and talk.
Can we get on like my car and talk about it? It's a little hesitant about this hotel.
I don't give a fuck. I'm getting my goddamn truck or car or whatever, man.
Is that cool?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
All three of them went to Tommy's car and continued with the conversation. Tommy and Billy started discussing the finer details of the plan. He told Billy that it was only necessary to handle Elizabeth. Both men then discussed the time frame which Billy had to work with. Tommy informed him that he needed the job done by May 14th, 2009.
How soon do you need it done? Roughly before like the 14th. At least a day or two of research, you know what I'm saying? Figure out how I'm gonna do it.
After agreeing on the time frame, they discussed how to get rid of Elizabeth. Tommy informed Billy that he didn't want his son to be anywhere nearby when everything happened. Billy explained that the best method would be a single gunshot to the head.
I plan on using the gun. Most effective way. Oh my God. Got me reminded there.
Billy then told Tommy about his fee for the job.
Who's that boss? How do you want it done? I don't want it loud. Because I want 500 up front and then 15 when it's done. And if I do a business deal with them, I ain't gonna go knocking on your door every day.
They both agreed on a $500 down payment by Friday, May 8th, 2009, followed up by 3 payments of $500 over a period of 6 weeks. After they settled on the payment and how to take care of Elizabeth, Billy told Tommy to start developing an alibi in case the police started looking at him as a suspect. Tommy agreed to make himself visible throughout the week to avoid any suspicion. On the afternoon of May 6, 2009, Billy met with Tommy at a Dairy Queen parking lot in Kissimmee, Florida, to discuss the plan going forward. Again, the meeting was recorded. This time, Tommy decided to drive Billy around the city as he showed him pictures of his son Eric and his ex-wife Elizabeth.
Well, it's rolling around like crazy. Alright. Just gonna keep driving, keep moving. Go make a big loop or something. Yeah. So, look in here, I got pictures of my son and stuff in there. Okay, cool. Oh. That's about 3 years ago. This is most recent. He hasn't changed much.
Tommy again started complaining about his relationship with his ex-wife. He went on and on about his fear for Eric's safety and the nightmares he'd been having. They then agreed to contact each other around midday on Friday, May 8th, 2009, before Tommy dropped Billy off at the Dairy Queen parking lot.
Early afternoon better for me, so noon, 1, 2, that. Yeah, how about like between 1 and 2, Paul? Yeah. Okay.
At 3 p.m. on Friday, May 8th, 2009, both men agreed to meet at a Walmart parking lot in Osceola County. They took a short drive around the area, and Tommy handed over $500 to Billy.
It's all in. Just email Holly, let me know when you want me to, visit my friend.
It was then agreed that Billy was going to head to Elizabeth's house, and Tommy was told to wait for a call to create an alibi.
No problem. I'm gonna haul out away now, because yesterday she got off at 6:30 anyway, so. I don't know if you've ever been to that job, but I haven't. It's a sweet spot.
Tommy continued with his daily work routine and visited patients at their homes to set up IV drips. Hours later, he received a call from Billy to make sure he was caught on camera, to which Tommy agreed. Shortly afterwards, Billy contacted Tommy and said they needed to meet at the Walmart again.
Done, brother. Thank God. Done, man. Look at this stupid man in her car. I was hiding in the woods, man. I couldn't find her ID, so I said, I snapped the picture and then took off in the woods. Perfect, dude. But you can watch the news tonight or something. I'm sure it's gonna be on there. You know what I'm saying? So great. But I just wanted to show you to know where you know it's done. Sweet. All right. Oh, thank God. All right, man.
Tommy showed signs of relief that the job was done, and both men parted ways, agreeing to maintain their alibis and avoid complications. Moments after Tommy exited Billy's car, he received a call from Detective Irving Molina of the Osceola Sheriff's Department. He then drove down to the station and met with Detective Molina and his partner Detective Brett Roller. Once the formalities were out of the way, Molina explained that they'd been told to contact Tommy by Jay Saltzman, Elizabeth's boyfriend. Molina then told Tommy that something bad had happened to Elizabeth.
That's my ex-wife. That's your ex-wife? Yeah. All right. First of all, the reason why I wanted to talk to you today was something did happen to her. And I want to try to get information from anyone who can tell me anything about her. Okay? Okay. What happened to her? You're a doctor, or I'm sorry. I'm a nurse. You're a nurse? Okay. So not a doctor yet. There's something that had happened to her. She's no longer with us at the moment. I'm sorry, to have to come straight out and tell you that. That's why I really did not want to speak to you on the phone.
Tommy didn't have much of a reaction and asked both detectives if she was dead. They told him that was why he was called to the station, because the news was serious. Soon after, Detective Molina asked Tommy about his marriage to Elizabeth. It was then that Tommy told detectives about his volatile relationship with Elizabeth.
Disney. How were you guys when you guys were married? When we were married, she slept around with me 3 times. The night that that we split up, I came home early from a patient's house, and she was shooting up my kid with something. And that's all on record in Orlando. She had a needle stuck in his arm. She was shooting him up to get him to go to sleep. With what? Don't know. I was exhausted. I'd been up for like 40 some hours, and I kicked her out of the house and took Eric and went in the bedroom and pretty much just kind of passed out. When I woke up, she come and got Eric and took him, and she went to South Dakota. It was just a big mess, the whole thing. But that's just the norm for her. She just makes up crap. It's just ridiculous.
He explained that she was a compulsive liar and had accused him of assault. He didn't paint a very good picture of Elizabeth to the police. Tommy then went on to say that it was Elizabeth who kept him away from his son and also accused her of drugging Eric in order to make him sleep. Tommy went on to reveal to the detectives that his son Eric had complained to his best friend, Mary Andrews, about Jay. According to Mary, Jay had been abusive toward Eric.
I called and said, "Oh, you want to talk with Mary?" He's like, "Yeah." And she told him that Eric told Mary that that Jay was throwing him across the room, throwing him on the ground, putting his knee in his back, slamming up against a mirror, and there was a big DCF case about it. And
Tommy explained that he stopped paying child support on purpose in order for Elizabeth to take him to court. He wanted to use that opportunity to expose Elizabeth's lies and double standards. Detective Molina then asked Tommy if he knew where Elizabeth was currently living, to which he replied that he believed she'd moved in with her boyfriend. He continued to deny knowing her current address and said he'd had no contact with neither Elizabeth nor Eric recently. Detective Roller then asked Tommy about his daily routine and what he'd done earlier that same day. Tommy explained his routine and included the patients he visited and the time at which he was expected at each location. He told detectives that he spent a long time talking to his neighbor, Mindy, and because of this, was delayed for his next appointment. When he discovered the patient was away from home, he returned to his own apartment before going to set up his final drip for the day. As he passed the Walmart, he decided to stop and buy flowers for his final patient of the day, but received the call from Detective Molina and went straight to the station.
Said, "Well, we'll do another patient." So I started to head out to go see Mr. Desmond Martin. He's a patient out in Point Siena. And I saw the Walmart there, and I stopped by. I was going to get some flowers, and then that's whenever you called me. So you were just getting off the turnpike? Yeah, I just pulled into your parking lot. You were shopping?
After asking Tommy more questions about the type of person Elizabeth was, both Molina and Roller explained that they were investigating Elizabeth's death as a possible homicide. To this, Tommy said that Elizabeth was known to anger people and that she didn't care about people's feelings. He even remarked that he hated Elizabeth.
Everybody in the universe knows that because the way she treated me. I mean, she slept around me 3 times, keeps my son from me, the love of my life, and you know, everybody knows that. But whatever happened, I had nothing to do with it. I mean.
But Melina and Roller then asked Tommy if he had any friends in Kissimmee, to which he said none, other than his patients. Then they showed him a picture of Elizabeth after she'd been shot, and he didn't show much interest other than asking about Eric's whereabouts.
And where's my son? I mean,
your son is safe. Promise you. It's the first place we went. Yeah.
He didn't see nothing happen? He wasn't in the car or nothing?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Everything was going according to the plan for Tommy. He really thought he was going home, but his reality was about to be rocked. Tommy's worst nightmares were only just beginning. He'd planned the perfect murder, but what was about to happen next only happens in movies.
You ever met this guy before? I have. I want to introduce this to you. This is an agent from the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. Okay?
Okay.
Here.
The hitman he'd hired to kill his ex-wife was standing in front of him. Actually, Billy, the hitman, was an undercover cop. This was the very same man James Wood introduced him to at the Quality Inn Hotel and who Tommy had hired to kill Elizabeth. Roller and Melina then revealed that they'd been investigating him for over 2 weeks.
For probably, 2 weeks now? All right, ever since you met Billy?
Before that.
All right. Okay.
Now we understand everything that's happened.
So
between you and Billy, what we don't understand, and I wouldn't like to leave it up to my assumption, is why? Is there something that we don't know that we should know?
I'm not following.
Why would you take the steps that you did to get rid of your wife?
I didn't take any steps to get rid of my wife.
Have you been meeting with Billy the last week?
I saw him, like twice.
Okay. Billy is Agent Griffin. He has been my partner for 5 years. You understand that?
Okay.
So where he goes, I go. So everywhere you've been with him, I've been there with him and with you. Now I understand from the moment that you guys first met, even prior to the moment that you guys first met. But please understand that before I come across you, I don't know you. I didn't know Elizabeth. So I don't understand what would drive a person to that point. There has to be a reason. There has to be a good reason. And I don't want to write down my assumptions of what I've known from you or I know of you. What I want to know is what you really tell me as to why, what happened, what pushed you to that point, to where we are right now.
They also revealed that Griffin had been working undercover to expose Tommy's conspiracy to murder Elizabeth. Melina implored Tommy to explain himself and why he'd gone through with the plan to kill his ex-wife. Tommy's sudden change in demeanor became obvious. Sergeant Black, the head of the Violent Crimes Unit who had led the investigation, entered the room. Black showed Tommy the money he'd paid Billy and walked him through the entire week's worth of surveillance footage. There was yet another twist in the story. His ex-wife was actually alive.
You recognize that?
There's $100 bills.
Do you recognize it?
I've had $100 bills before.
Did you give?
I've never seen a package before.
Did you give Agent Griffin any money?
Did I give Agent Griffin? Who's Agent Griffin?
Billy.
Billy.
Let me tell you what you did, okay? You met him in a hotel room, okay? You went inside or had a conversation. You went in there for over 27 minutes. And was it 22 seconds, 27 minutes, 22 seconds? You came out, you walked outside because you didn't want to do anything inside the hotel room because you were trying to be smart, but you really wasn't smart. Then you walked outside, out there, then you talked about it and said you wouldn't give me any details, because you was a pretty smart guy. So you walked outside, all three of you did. You walked outside, you talked to him for a few minutes, and you said you just want out of the way, then you discussed the price. $500 up front, $500 over 2 weeks, because you only get paid over 2 weeks. Okay, am I so far?
Now, I don't want to give you too much information, you know, and all he's trying to do is find out why. You know, be honest with you, I don't really give a crap why. I mean, it's you. We're trying to find out why you did it.
It's for your benefit. It's not for ours.
Then let me finish.
You did what you did.
Then you left. You went up to the hotel room up there, and we went to the front lobby and said, hey, I got a friend lives in 154. I want to rent a room next door to. And they take you something else. Seen you leave from there, then you go out westbound on 192. Now you go 1.3 miles. You turn around, you come back in the hotel. You go on the east side. You get out and walk around a little bit over, and you look around a little bit more, and you come out, and the guy confronts you again. So I'm just having a cigarette before I leave. And you get up and leave, and you go somewhere else. And we call you again. I got the exact times, got your voice, got your video. You really didn't want to get in the truck. I got everything, you know. Really, I don't even need to talk to you. I can just lock you up, take you over there, and I'm done for the night. Go home for Mother's Day. Okay? You hear me? What we're just trying to find out is your opportunity as to why. Well, as to why. You know, if you don't want to say why, then fine. We're done. I don't care. You know?
It was then that Roller told Tommy that Elizabeth was still alive and that the evidence they'd collected was enough to have him locked away. Tommy then asked for a lawyer.
So will you let me see a lawyer?
The what?
Do you want a lawyer? Is that what you're saying? Well, I mean, obviously that's what you guys take it to. This is a simple question. Do you want a lawyer? Do you want an attorney? You want to stop talking? If you tell me yes, you want an attorney, you want to stop talking, and we're done. We'll take you over to jail. It's up to you. That's a simple question. Do you want an attorney?
Yes.
All right, stand up. Stand up now. Stand up. Put your hands on your back.
He was arrested for solicitation to commit murder and attempted murder. He was held at the Osceola County Jail without bond. In the weeks that followed, Tommy decided to represent himself and was ultimately told about the sting operation by the investigation team. In early May 2009, James Wood contacted Sheriff's Deputy David Snyder, a family friend. He told Snyder that he'd met a man named Tommy Carlton through a friend from Narcotics Anonymous. James went on to explain that Tommy was looking for someone to help with killing his ex-wife, Elizabeth Nicholas. James told Snyder that initially he didn't believe Tommy was serious about it, but after the topic was brought up several times, he started to grow concerned. On May 4th, 2009, James, along with Deputy Snyder, met with Sergeant Wiley Black of the Osceola County Sheriff's Violent Crime Unit. James and Sergeant Black sat down with Detectives Molina and Roller. All three officers questioned James, and he relayed the story of Tommy Carlton. It was then decided that they'd bring in Lieutenant Howard Griffin, who often worked undercover, to help investigate Tommy Carlton.
I received a phone call from our Violent Crimes Unit, and basically they told me that I need to come in and meet up, and they briefed me on what they had at the time, which ultimately was Tommy Carlton, who was trying to find someone to murder his ex-wife.
Under the guidance of all three officers, James made a phone call to Tommy and arranged a meeting that evening at the local Quality Inn Hotel. Once the meeting was agreed upon, officers started working on setting up surveillance and prepping Griffin for his role as Hitman Billy. The first meeting between Tommy and Billy was also to take place that evening as the Violent Crimes Unit began setting up surveillance in the hotel's adjoining room. During the first meeting, Tommy showed signs of anxiety as he felt the hotel room might have been bugged. He was assured by James and Billy that no such thing had been happening. Tommy then left the room to get a pen, and as he made his way out, he began to feel paranoid. On a whim, he looked into the adjoining room through a slit in the curtain. Tommy was sure he caught a glimpse of a metal briefcase with a listening device on the desk. He returned to James's room and informed them of his suspicions, but when all three men took a second look, nothing was there. Feeling uneasy, they decided to sit in Tommy's car and discuss what to do with Elizabeth, which was all recorded. A plan was hatched and payment agreed upon before all three men went their own ways. Over the course of 5 days, Tommy met with Agent Griffin 3 more times. During these meetings, Tommy provided pictures of both Elizabeth and their son, Eric. Both men had also agreed on the method of murder with regard to Elizabeth and parted ways. In the meantime, officers made contact with Elizabeth and explained what Tommy had been planning. She agreed to help with their operation in order to catch Tommy in the act. With Elizabeth on board, Agent Griffin prepared to meet with Tommy for a third time on May 8, 2009. During this meeting, Tommy paid Griffin an amount of $500 with a promise of a further $1,500 over the next 6 weeks. Thereafter, both men parted ways as the sheriff's office prepared to set up the crime scene. As officers took the required pictures of Elizabeth for Tommy's benefit, Griffin called him and told him to start setting up an alibi. After everything was done, both men agreed to meet that Friday evening at the same Walmart. With Detectives Molina and Roller watching the interaction from a surveillance van, Griffin showed Tommy the photo of Elizabeth. Once Tommy left Griffin's car, he was contacted by Detective Molina to stop by the sheriff's office regarding an issue with Elizabeth. Tommy Carlton went on trial on February 7, 2011 at the Osceola County Court, with Judge Scott Palladna presiding over the case. The prosecution, led by attorney Michelle Heller, argued that Tommy Carlton wanted his ex-wife dead and that he showed no remorse throughout the planning of her murder.
The defendant, Tommy Carlton, hated his ex-wife and he wanted her dead, and he hired Billy, the undercover hitman, to do so. When Deputy Griffin shows him the cell phone photo, what is his reaction? You'll see it and you'll hear it. Sweet, he says. He's happy. In fact, he's certain he wants her dead, out of the way, out of the picture. He just doesn't want to be caught.
She used the video and audio footage collected by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office during their sting operation to show the calm demeanor in which he executed his plan without thought for anyone but himself. The defense, led by attorney Mark Consalo, argued that law enforcement orchestrated the entire situation. He pointed out that not once had Tommy uttered the words murder or kill when speaking about Elizabeth on the video and audio recordings. Consalo also pointed out that Tommy was a victim of entrapment by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
During jury selection, we talked about a concept called entrapment. You're going to hear videos, the actual words uttered by Mr. Carlton. Because if you listen to the actual words Mr. Carlton uttered, you're never going to hear something that says, I want her dead. I want you to kill her.
Following the opening statements by both the state and defense, witnesses that included the officers from the sting operation, police informant James Wood, and Tommy's ex-wife were questioned under oath. Agent Howard Griffin's testimony included his interactions with both James and Tommy and the entire interaction as captured on camera. He also testified that Tommy had set a deadline to have the job completed before May 14, 2009. James Wood testified that Tommy had approached him on several occasions and the topic always turned to getting rid of Elizabeth. Detectives Molina and Roller testified in court about the entire sting operation and how they had put it all together. They provided further testimony of how Tommy's behavior changed during the interrogation after finding out he'd been caught.
Did you believe that Mr. Carlton wanted to kill his ex-wife?
Yes.
Okay. And are you able to articulate to the jury why you believed that?
Why I believe that?
Yeah.
I feel like he was very passionate about feeling like
relevance, the speculation projection.
Overruled. You may.
Go ahead.
I feel like he was very passionate about feeling that he was wrong by his wife, and that for some reason he felt like all his problems would be solved basically if she passed away. I tried to communicate to him and had a discussion with him about, how he would feel with, his son being with him and knowing that, he had something to do with his son's mom passing away. And he didn't seem to care. I kind of tried to offer that because really I was trying to talk him out of it or throw out ideas that would kind of, make him feel like, that maybe it wasn't a good idea, but basically after he'd want to go through with it after that, I pretty much knew he was pretty serious.
Elizabeth Nicholas took the stand and testified about her relationship with Tommy and the revelation he made about being gay. She told the jury that she did not believe that Tommy wanted custody of Eric because of her past experience with him. Rather, she believed he was trying to get out of paying the child support he owed her.
When our son Eric was 6 weeks old, I had my gallbladder out and I was in the hospital. He brought a man to my hospital room and he told me that he was gay and he was going out with him for dinner and he left me with the baby.
How would you describe the years since you've been divorced? Just if you had one word to describe them.
Roller coaster.
Okay.
Tommy then took the stand in his own defense. He told the court that he never wanted to have Elizabeth killed. Rather, he wanted someone to scare both Elizabeth and her new boyfriend so that she'd stop denying him access to Eric.
So he showed up. I said, you want to take care of the problem, be able to see my son. I didn't say, to be able to kill my ex-wife. It was to be able to see my son, and where I can actually protect him again and see him and guard over him so that he's not being beat when I'm not there.
Detective Griffin says, oh, I know, just tell me what you need done and I'll decide how it's gonna work. Your response is, what's it gonna cost? His is, what do you want done? You say, them taken out of the way so my son can come live with me. Explain to the jury what you meant when you said that.
Well, yeah, at first he says, what were you thinking, what do you want done? And then he says, I don't work for free. So I said, well, what were you thinking of doing? And then you go back and forth a couple of times there, and then I say, well, what were you thinking price-wise? Because he tacked on the other things. I didn't even know what we were talking about at that point. And then he added in the money issue. So I'm thinking, he was wanting like gas money, because nothing's been specified at all. Frequently, I would give James Wood gas money because he didn't have a job, didn't have nothing. So I didn't know what we were talking about. I didn't know if the guy was gonna want like drugs to do something or what. Nothing was specified. And in my head, I'm thinking that all that needs to be done to solve this is to have somebody show up and catch Liz walking out of the apartment or something and say, hey, we know that your kid's being beat by this guy. And then just imply, as a show of force, a verbal harangue that don't make us come back, and just let her decide what that means. This is a visual, this verbal incentive, an implication that something would happen if she didn't, just to see if that would stop it, because nothing was going. That's what I'm thinking is happening, because nothing's been specified otherwise. And so that was the first thought of me. Not, that's why I said I wanted to be able to see my son, not take out, kill, murder my ex-wife.
Tommy also testified that James was a spurned lover that twisted the story of a murder-for-hire plot. Tommy also mentioned that he didn't fully understand Agent Griffin's words during every meeting due to his hearing disability. Both sides gave their closing arguments on February 10, 2011. The state urged the jury to consider the evidence from the surveillance footage against the testimony given by Tommy Carlton. The state also asked for the jury to consider the testimony given by the victim, Elizabeth herself. The defense maintained its argument of entrapment and asked the jury to consider that the law tried to bend the case in their favor. It didn't take the jury long to decide Tommy's fate. On the afternoon of February 10, 2011, the jury found Tommy guilty on both charges.
Division 201, State of Florida versus Tommy Lyle Carlton. Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Kissimmee, Osceola County, Florida, on this 10th day of February 2011, signed by the foreperson. Verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Kissimmee, Osceola County, Florida, on this 10th day of February 2011, signed by the foreperson.
On April 8, 2011, Tommy Carlton's sentencing hearing was held. Elizabeth took the stand to deliver a victim impact statement. During the speech, she told the judge that as long as Tommy stayed in jail, it would be best for both her and her son, Eric. She also told the court that Tommy was a good person in the beginning, but over the years, he changed and became a liar who was determined to destroy people's lives. She then apologized to everyone affected by Tommy.
My life in the past 2 years has been nothing short of a roller coaster ride, not only for me, but my son, our son, my husband. And, my son used to look forward to going and seeing his dad. When is my dad gonna call? When is my dad gonna come get me? And now he comes and he asks me, is daddy still in jail? Are we safe? And I have to go to the website and say, yeah, okay, he's still in jail. My life is not what it started out to be. I don't know where it's going. I don't know from one day to the next. You know, I'm gonna be happy or sad. Everybody asks me how I feel. There's not a word that I know of that could describe adequately what I feel, because I feel them all at once. And you know, everybody asks me if I hate Tom. No, I don't hate him. I loved him so much at one time. And now all I want to ask him and I want to know is why. Because it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know that person anymore. It's not a person that I could ever trust again to be. I just don't know.
Tommy was sentenced to 22 years in prison and ordered to have no direct or indirect contact with Elizabeth. Although he was not denied contact with his son, Eric, the boy has opted not to contact his father. Tommy has also lost both appeals to have his sentence reviewed by the state. Tommy Carlton's actions showed the depraved side of an individual who is willing to kill the mother of his child without considering the effect on his son. If anything, Tommy was motivated by greed, jealousy, and the need to control, and that has led to his isolation from the people who once cared for him. So, looking back at today's case, do you think that Tommy got the justice he deserved? Would you consider James Wood a brave individual for reaching out to police when he felt something was wrong? Let us know in the comment section below.